It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. Live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs Studios. Merry Christmas Eve. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Nashville Predators win again last night as they take down the Minnesota Wild 3-2 in overtime to get their third straight victory. Steven Stamkos had the tip in during overtime period, securing the 2 points, and it's been a hot last 14 games for Stamkos compared to the first 22 this season. The first 22, he had 4 goals and 1 assist. The last 14 games, he has 11 goals and 6 assists. In NFL news, Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf's suspension was upheld yesterday and will miss the final 2 games of the regular season. He will also forego over $500,000 in salary this year and having $45 million in future guarantees voided. Also, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who suffered a back injury in last week's game, did not practice yesterday. The Ravens play the Packers in Green Bay this Saturday night. And Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell revealed yesterday that quarterback J.J. McCarthy has a hairline fracture in his throwing hand but will not need surgery. McCarthy will, however, miss this week's game against the Lions on Christmas Day tomorrow. Max Brosmer, the backup, will get the start in his place. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning, and welcome in to a Christmas Eve edition of Ramon and Will at 104.5 The Zone. I'm Will Bowling. No Ramon Foster this morning, having a very well-deserved day off during this festive time of year. We got 4 hours to fill for today's show. We got a lot to talk about. We've got a home finale between the Tennessee Titans and New Orleans Saints to get to. We'll start with that in just a moment. Rhett Bryan will join us at 9 o'clock. I'm also going to give you a Titans wish list for the final 2 games of the regular season. Brent Hubbs and Ron Slay join the show in hour number 3, an earlier visit with those two that normally come on Friday. Brent Hubbs at 8 o'clock, Ron Slay at 8:20, and we've got the Thursday 3 on Christmas Eve because that's the only time we have left to do it this week. No show Friday. Of course, no show tomorrow on December the 24th, 6 a.m. in beautiful Music City. Justin Hawkins, are you feeling the festiveness?
I'm feeling very festive. I've even got my Christmas vacation sweatshirt on today. It is time. Yeah, it's got all the best quotes from Christmas Vacation on there.
I need a power ranking. Ooh. Top 3 quotes, because I could not possibly ask you to narrow it down just to one. See, and I'm filibustering right now. You're going to have to.
Okay. So one of my favorites is so after they chop down the Christmas tree and they bring it back, and then he cuts down his own in the front yard. I don't know if it's radio appropriate. I mean, I guess it is. But
we're about to find out. I know which one you're talking about. I think you're fine.
Yeah. So he goes. What's the neighbor's name?
Todd and Margaret.
Yeah, Todd. Okay, so Todd goes, where do you think you're going to put a tree like that, Griswold? Well, why don't you bend over and I'll show you?
Yeah, it's good.
And then he goes,
it's good.
You got a lot of nerve talking to me like that. Well, I wasn't talking to you. That's probably one of my favorites.
And then young Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yes.
Is standing right next to him.
You said yesterday that was before.
That was pre-Seinfeld, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Insane.
I know. All right. That's number 3. What's number 2?
No, that would be number 1.
Oh, number 1. Okay. Yeah. What's number 2?
Let's probably. Golly, put me on the spot. This is insane. Do yours and I'll think of mine.
Mine would be Grace. She died 40 years ago. Would be in there. I'm not going to rank them in order. I'm just going to say these are my top 3. That one. Then also, you couldn't hear a dump truck driving through a nitroglycerin plant. Yeah. And then my other one, I don't know. Probably
maybe fried pussycat.
That's not bad. The other one would be Cousin Eddie. Oh, he's just yakking on a bone. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
very good. Very good.
Man. It's a fantastic movie.
It is the best.
Do you have any traditions? Because my tradition for my family typically is to watch that movie. Is the last movie you watch before Christmas Day. You go to bed, and that's every year.
We don't have a specific time we watch it. We typically have a big 3 of that, Home Alone and Elf, that we cycle between. which to me are my 3 favorite as well, but not really a specific time that we watch it. Really, other than kind of a Christmas Eve service on usually about 4 or 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve. That's about all we do routinely at this time.
I'm trying to read now all these quotes to see which
You're
one.
cheating.
Yeah, I know. I just want to read them all. But I can't take it off. That'd be not YouTube appropriate.
Honorable mention would be the why is the carpet so wet, Todd?
Oh, that's,
well, I don't know.
That's
Margo.
the one I was looking for.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Fantastic. Well, is it a disadvantage to play the Saints the week of Christmas? I don't know. We're about to find out. Week finale against the New Orleans Saints this Sunday in Nissan Stadium. And look, this is a big opportunity for the Titans to continue to ascend, continue to trend in the right direction at the end of the season. Practice yesterday, a spirited practice, also just a bit more of a casual practice and no pads, things like that. But the day off tomorrow, so they get a little bit more work in on Tuesday. They'll be back on the practice field today and then get back out there on Friday for more prep for the New Orleans Saints. Cam Ward asked about the rookie class leading the way on the same day that Chimere Dike became the first Titans rookie in 15 years to earn a Pro Bowl nod. This was Cam speaking to the media yesterday.
For sure. And a lot of us, we were blessed to come in and, make a substantial amount, to the offense and on the defense with Femi. And, we know that we're going to have to be the guys to, step up. And, that's what we pride ourselves on as a rookie class, is being there, when people need us the most and, making plays for our teammates.
Nick Hogan said that Sunday was probably not only your best game statistically, but he said when he went back and watched the film that it was probably your best from a mechanics and footwork standpoint, too. Do you agree with that? And what do you feel like, if so, what do you feel like led to that?
Who said that?
Nick Hogan.
Yeah. And he's somebody who I think who takes the information that not only myself gives him, but just the other players around him to help put us in the best position. And I think just, what he's done for me, just learning more about the game, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's why we're able to, get, just stat-wise, where we want to get to.
There is an ownership that this rookie class has had to take of every hope and dream of this franchise quickly. Big question for Week 17 is, do you continue building on what has worked, especially on offense over the last 3 games and even from a larger sample size, the last 6? We've talked about it all week that Cam Ward's ability to perform against pressure was terrific on Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. He completed 15 of 18 attempts under 2.5 seconds for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was blitzed 48.5% of the time he dropped back to pass against Steve Spagnuolo's Chiefs defense. It's his second highest rate this season, and he completed 9 of 13 passes for 117 yards and a touchdown when blitzed. His success rate on quick throws was the lowest in the NFL by more than 5 percentage points at 37.7%. So how does that match up with one of the hottest teams in the NFL so far this season in the New Orleans Saints? And we would not have said that even a month ago. But at this point of the season, with 3 straight wins to their name, with a new rookie quarterback, with a defense that's playing very well specifically against the pass, New Orleans is a very formidable opponent walking into Nissan Stadium on Sunday. Maybe this is a game that you've got tickets for Christmas. Maybe you have tickets for your family and they don't know it yet for Christmas. But New Orleans has the number 5 passing defense in the league. Number 13 in yards per attempt allowed. In terms of yards per rush allowed, they have only allowed 4.1. That's 9th best in the NFL. They are still a bit inflated in both their pass defense being a little bit lower in total and their run defense being a little bit worse in terms of total yardage because so many teams were just running the ball to run out leads against them earlier in the season. Well, that's not happening anymore because Tyler Shuck, their rookie quarterback, is 4-3 as a starter. 3 straight wins against New York, Carolina, and Tampa. That's New York Jets, which, I didn't really even need to differentiate because those are the 2 worst teams in the league right now. Number 4, third down defense in the league, allowing just 34.8% conversion. Cam Jordan is playing at a very high level. 36 years old, 8.5 sacks. Chase Young, who maybe kicked around the idea of being a Tennessee Titan. According to reports, he was an option for this team. 7 sacks for him this season. They are 14th in the league with 37 sacks, but they have had 2 games that have made that number look a lot better. 13 of those have come in 2 games, not the last 2 games, in kind of bookending the season against the Jets and then against the Arizona Cardinals in week 1. They had 8 sacks over the weekend against the New York Jets. So how has Cam Ward better prepared for pressure, better prepared for blitzes? This was Cam speaking with the media yesterday.
I think I got more prepared each and every week. The beginning of the year is the hardest because the defense doesn't put out all the pressures like that just because of the amount of games. Then you just got to continue to, watch him on the DC's background, see what he can do at certain times of the game. But I think every week, I get coached up to handle each and every pressure, whether it's in the call or whether I have to get something, off my head. And then just continue to, put the ball in my playmakers' hands.
Big opportunity for Cam Ward to prove that his progress is sustainable and that it's not fool's gold. Not that I'm saying it is, but I think there is an opportunity here to say, all right, now I've done it against a good pass defense. This is a pretty fun secondary to match up with. Kool-Aid McKinstry on one side, the young former Alabama corner, Quincy Riley, Louisville rookie, 4th-round pick, who's been pretty solid in his first season as a pro. Alante Taylor, former Vol, playing in the nickel, who's turned into a pretty good defensive back in the NFL. Jonas Sanker had 6 tackles, was targeted just twice in pass coverage, didn't allow a single reception at the safety position, and Justin Reed at the other safety spot. And he plays everywhere. Someone that Mike Borgonzi will be very familiar with as a former Kansas City Chief. 242 snaps in the box, 102 in the slot, a bunch at free safety. They will move him around everywhere. But this is a really, really good defense. And they have allowed less than 200 passing yards in 6 straight games. It's because Brandon Staley is their defense coordinator. At Carolina, home against Atlanta, at Miami, at Tampa, Carolina again, and against the Jets. No team has thrown for more than 267 passing yards all season against the New Orleans Saints. That was the Rams back at a 34-10 win for LA. Big challenge, but also a big opportunity because Cam Ward is starting to change the narrative on his rookie season. And if you go back home after the performance that you had and the game that this team had against the Kansas City Chiefs over the weekend, if this team can walk back into Nissan Stadium on Sunday, they've got an opportunity to really prove that not only are they getting better and is this a young quarterback that's really progressing, but that this is a job that top end of the coaching carousel market will want. That's the opportunity they have to continue on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. They're showcasing what they have for the future. And I think what's also going to be the test for Sunday is, just like you mentioned earlier, is they have a really good defensive front there with Cam Jordan, Chase Young. Is the Titans have only allowed 3 sacks in the last 3 games. So what kind of test is the offensive line going to be put under this week? It's kind of like what Emory Hunt mentioned yesterday about the offensive line. If you can build a rock-solid foundation for your front 5, then Cam Ward can do what he needs to do. And in the last 6 weeks, like we've talked about all week, Will, is how Cam Ward has progressed versus the earlier part of the season when he was put under a loads of pressure facing the Broncos and those of the such. And taking how many sacks did he have the first 3 to 4 weeks? It was over 20 of them.
All of them.
Exactly.
Get all of the sacks.
All of the sacks that you could possibly have, all of the sacks. And now you're getting little to no sacks. What kind of pressure is Cam going to go this week? And he's also getting the ball out faster. And I think we've talked about that a little bit as well.
Well, speaking of Emory Hunt, great transition by you. Let's hear from him. CBS Sports' Emory Hunt. We'll revisit our conversation with him when we come back. We'll throw Ramon in the mix in that as well. At Ramon and Will, at Will_Bowling, live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. Emory Hunt's got a fix for the Titans offense that he is making the top priority that I didn't necessarily think was priority 1 coming into the conversation we had with Emory. And you'll hear it next. Kicking off your Christmas Eve morning on Ramon and Will. Stream it live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Whether you are also on a Christmas vacation or working this morning, we're grateful you decided to start your Christmas Eve with us. No Ramon today, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins with you. Revisiting our conversation with Emory Hunt of CBS Sports, who has always been a believer in Cam Ward. We talked with Emory about a number of things, about how he would quarterback-proof the Titans offense, the Titans roster for Cam Ward, and how Cam has started to progress and started to look a little bit more like Miami Cam Ward.
You saw the full gambit. You saw the athleticism. You saw the arm talent. You saw the efficiency. You saw the playing above the X's and O's that you wanted to see. You saw some mobility as well, and he only took 2 sacks. So at the end of the day, he checked all the boxes. And when you're checking all the boxes, this is the Cam Ward we saw at Incarnate Word, the Cam Ward we saw at Washington State, and the one we saw just last season at Miami. So, I mean, if you go the last 8 weeks, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. So the turnovers have dropped to a significant low. He's protecting the football better. He's much more efficient. He's always has the ability to play above the X's and O's. But granted, I know people will say, but the Chiefs was without this player, that player, this player. At the end of the day, the box score says Titans win versus Chiefs. That's all people would care about come the offseason, and he did a great job in that game on Sunday.
Emory Hunt, CBS Sports with us. Emory, we had a conversation earlier in the show about, can this still be considered a successful rookie season for Cam Ward? But before the bye week, 57% completion, 72 quarterback rating. Since then, an 89.3 quarterback rating. The wins over Cleveland and Kansas City, things starting to progress in the right direction. What are your thoughts on the full evaluation of Cam Ward in year one, interim head coach, Calvin Ridley injured? How do you grade and view this entire body of work that Cam Ward has put on film this season?
I give it a B. And here's the thing, man. I feel like now because we are in the, fantasy footballification of the media, we're in now the hot takery of the media. People forget what rookie quarterbacks used to look like and how sometimes it takes time. And they didn't draft number one for a reason, for no reason. They needed help around. And so people act like this was like, you see people across the gambit where if a rookie quarterback doesn't come out and win the Super Bowl by week 2, they're ready to say, well, let's look at the next year's draft class. Or did they whiff on this pick? Calm down. And so I think this is a solid performance for him because he's starting to play his best ball toward the back end of the season, which gives you confidence going into the offseason and gives you optimism heading into next season. So all of those things are steps in the right direction. It's always been about crawl, walk, run. And right now he's starting to pick up the pace a little bit, and we're going to see him run into next season.
We're joined by Emory Hunt this morning, talking NFL and more things about football, man. Emory, when you look at the start of this year for Cam, how do you kind of categorize what that was or summarize the first portion of his rookie season? Since there is, of course, a lot of, it was a lot of bad, considering how he played versus the second half so far. How do you kind of judge that reasoning if you have one?
You know what? I felt like it was a situation where they drafted Cam Ward and expected him to save their job, right? And so when you have that level of desperation, you're not gonna focus on the little things because you're probably a little bit more. I'm talking about Brian Callahan, for instance. You're probably a little bit more worried about saving your job, so you may overlook some things. You feel like you don't have the luxury of time, which we now found out he didn't have. And so when you have some semblance of stability around you, you're able to firmly plant your feet down and build on some things. And I think if Callahan was a rookie head coach with a rookie quarterback, we would have seen that slow maturation process over the course of time, probably a little bit faster than after the bye week. But because Callahan was in save my job mode, and now you throw a rookie quarterback in the mix on a team that still needs a little bit more work, you got what you got in the first part of the season. And now because there's some stability with the coaching staff that, hey, they may not be here next year, but at the end of the day, they're here right now, and we can work together and we're going to have the same voice. There's no desperation of we got to win because I don't want to get fired. And that's why we've seen what we've seen over the last course of the, 2 months from Cam Ward, juxtaposed what we saw in the first half of the season.
We've had this conversation about the last couple of days, even a little bit of last week, about Ben Johnson comments about Caleb Williams. Like, we don't need Caleb. We're winning in spite of Caleb. And that, to me, I think is a better way to let a quarterback grow. So the question I have for you, whoever the Titans sign as their new head coach moving forward, do you think there needs to be a reining in a little bit of having the team support Cam instead of having Cam out front? Or do you want to see him more even next year going into this process? Now, that's a lot to project. Emory having this conversation is not even a full, complete offseason with free agents and everything else. But I think a lot of people will admire what Ben Johnson has done with Caleb, and even now, so especially after watching him in the the later part of this season drop a bomb on Green Bay and just look like the guy that, of course, everybody said he was coming out of the draft, but last year in his rookie season, very relatable to what Cam is having right now, just wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that correlation, I think, is going to run hand in hand with one another.
Man, I'm so glad you said that, Ramon, man, because I feel like we talked about this before during the draft process where I've always said no one player is that good. So I don't care who it is, right? You need your team to be good. You kind of want to quarterback-proof your roster, so therefore you can ask your quarterback to do his 111. Like, you go into a game like, hey, Caleb, we got a fantastic run game. We can run when we want to. We got 2 of everything. They are Noah Ark's offense, right? 2 of everything. You got 2 backs, 2 tight ends, multiple receivers. You got a bunch of everything at your disposal. So we just need you to hit 5 passes a game, and when the situation calls for it, hit your layups, and then we need you to be Caleb Williams for 5 passes a game. And we saw that against Green Bay. The one pass he hit for the touchdown, actually both, to Jade Walker in the corner of the end zone to get the tie, and then the one to win the game. Those are 2 of those 5 throws you have to make as a special talent. So if they build around Cam Ward, and Cam Ward is also a special talent, he doesn't have to put on his cape all the time. That wears you down when you feel like you got to score 60, points a game. Like, man, I can live with scoring 40 points and dishing out the other, 40 to my teammates, and we win more than we win if I score 60 points, using the basketball reference. So I've always been team, make your team good, make the 53 good, or make the 52 good. That way your 53rd player, your quarterback, can do his part. Because if you're asking him to be the leading rusher, to be the playmaker, to be the OC, you're doing too much. And so I think it's and the greatest example of that is the Los Angeles Rams. We've seen them time and time again just constantly draft, develop, and have guys step in and play their role. And if you're able to do that with good players like the Bears have done this season, you're going to have something special. And I think that's the mindset the Titans have to have going into it.
Emory Hunt of CBS Sports, our guest at F-Ball Game Plan, where you get him on Twitter. Emory, is there a name or a system that you think makes sense for the Titans' next head coach? Where will Cam Ward find the most success in 2026?
With a solid head coach, period. Because here's one thing that I don't like about today's game. You don't have to have a quote-unquote offensive mind or offensive head coach. You just need a head coach that does a great job in identifying talent, that's able to delegate to the guys he hired and empower those guys to do their job. So give me a head coach that has a good pulse of the team, that's able to delegate to his offensive coordinator, that's also able to delegate to his defensive coordinator, and let those guys coach their respective sides of the ball. Because I think a lot of times folks get enamored with, this guy, he runs this orbit motion. Man, he's going to be a cool head coach. Oh, wow, he put 3 wide receivers on the same side with the tight end. Oh, wow, that's a great offensive mind. Like, man, you just need a head coach that can handle situations and allow his offensive coordinators to do their job, or their defense coordinators to do their job. I feel like only a rare few can call plays and be the head coach. Your Sean McVay, your Kyle Shanahan, and your Ben Johnson. Outside of that, man, just get a head coach that's great situational football, that understands team building, roster construction, has a great gauge on the in-game situation, and allow your offense coordinator to do his job, build the offense around the player's skill set, and that way you can have success.
Emery, I'm watching Monday Night Football last night thinking, man, Alec Pierce catching these like shot-putted footballs from a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers could do wonders for Cam Ward next season. I also look at where the Titans now are in the draft and think Carnell Tate could do wonders for Cam Ward next season. And they're probably going to have to address the wide receiver position early in the draft and in free agency. Is there a dream fit for you, whether it's in the draft, whether it's one of these free agent wide receivers? Who makes sense, Emery, to pair up with Cam Ward?
Now, I'm glad you brought up the game last night, because if you watch the passing exhibition that we saw from Phillip Rivers and also Brock Purdy, notice how many times those dudes didn't get touched.
Right.
Felt like it was 7-on-7 for San Francisco, and their offense was much maligned all season long in terms of offensive line. Man, so I would look toward the offensive front for Cam Ward. If you go back to why we saw Cam Ward become the guy he is at Miami, look at the line in front of him. Like, he was barely touched at Miami. And so if you are able to build a rock-solid front five, I think that's the way to go first. And because there's some talent that guys that can make some catches. Yeah, you want to add premier talent, but I don't want to say you can find receivers anywhere. And I understand the benefit of having a guy that can, be a guy that you got to have to come in a game plan for. But I'm going to try to solidify this offensive line first before I think skill players. I think that, to me, has been the biggest issue with Tennessee, is getting him protected. I'm glad he doesn't hold the record right now, because he prior to last week, he was the most sacked quarterback in the league.
Yep.
That has to change. If you can drop that 51 sack number down to 25, now you're cooking with gas. So I think they have to address the offensive line first. Who is the best tackle? Who is the best guard? Lock them dudes up. Draft those guys, and let's go play ball. I think that's first and foremost the foundation before you can do anything else. Because think about, we talk about the Bears. Look what the Bears did this offseason. They went and got guards in the guard, and that's a big reason why they are where they are right now in this season.
They're able to keep Caleb ain't super small, but they're able to keep a smaller quarterback behind his umbrella of interior offensive linemen. Point taken. Love guards, man. I wonder why. With that being said, Emery, you bring up jobs and coaches. Just on the surface level, man, is this an attractive job? I know it's one of 32 and everybody want to be one of these CEOs, but I think that's a fair question to ask when you're looking at potential coaches that could be let go. Like, if Stefanski does get let go, if Baltimore doesn't right the ship, does Harbaugh, there's a lot of Saleh conversation and Nagy. Like, is this an attractive job, man, when it comes down to other teams and availabilities that'll happen on Black Monday?
I believe so, man. You got a quarterback that you like. And it was universally liked. So it's not like you have to trick yourself into saying, it's one of 32 jobs and, not too many people could. Like, you don't have to do all that. You say, they got Cam Ward over there. I'm good. And so I think this is an attractive job. And, there's a culture of winning. We've seen Tennessee win before, and we've seen what that looked like when Tennessee wins. This is a team that has been to a Super Bowl, that has been to multiple AFC championship games, that has had a sustained level of success in Nashville. So definitely it's an attractive job. And Nashville is a great place to live. So at the end of the day, why wouldn't you want to come coach the Tennessee Titans in Nashville? So I like the fact that they have enough pieces in place. You got a quarterback in place. You got enough young talent in place. We talked about this during the draft. I thought they nailed the draft. They have a lot of good draft picks. Look at DK and how he's handled the special teams role. Look at what you have in Gunnar Helm. You got some good players. A.U. Maynard is a very good receiver as well. So if you could just continue to build and add, and you got Jeffrey Simmons out there catching touchdown passes. I loved in that game, he not only caught the touchdown pass, but he worked himself open. So he showed some savvy as well. But I just like the fact they got enough raw talent on this team with a young quarterback on a rookie contract. So at the end of the day, you got a lot to build on. It's a very good, attractive job, in my opinion.
Man, with a lot of weight at that one position at quarterback, Emery, I just want to ask an outside the Titans question. Emery, Tua, and decisions that have to be made about quarterbacks who are getting paid $50+ million, man. how hard of a decision that's going to be on that fifth-year option. I mean, even for a guy like Cam or C.J. Stroud or anybody else that's in that conversation, Drake May even, who's to say he's not going to have a third-year slip or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the number don't matter because the cap has gone up, but, Emory, we're talking about potentially a $90 million cap hit if they try to let go of Tua Tagovailoa.
And that brings back to the point I was making about quarterback-proof your roster, because I feel like, we in the media business have done a fantastic job of pushing the narrative of you need a quarterback to win. You need a franchise quarterback. So now teams have overpaid some of these guys because of the threat of not having that guy. When in reality, when you think about what the quarterback position truly is, hey, it's about leadership. It's about, doing your 111. It's about being efficient. It's about, at times making 2 to 3 special throws a game. So why do you put the onus on some of these guys that they may not have deserved with their play, and now you've hamstrung your own franchise and offense as a whole? And we look at, there's a litany of guys across the NFL 120, 105-year history where you can get guys in the second round, third round, and win games. And I feel like the narrative has been, well, you can't win unless you got a quarterback in the top 5 in the draft or in the first round of the draft, when in reality, if a guy can play, he can play. So therefore, think in terms of building your team and getting a quarterback and do his job and go that way. Because when you overpay some of these players at any position, no less, it really curtails your chances of having success. So I'm saying all that to say Tua is efficient, but what Tua's issue has been, he's kind of been the same guy since he got into the league. So he's not gotten better. He has kind of plateaued. So you kind of, what you see is what you're going to get. Now that has value, but if you're going to pay a guy what you paid Tua, he has to be able to elevate every year, and that hasn't been the case for Tua. So, we're seeing someone like Trevor Lawrence kind of go through the ebbs and flows, and now he's on the uptick, and he's starting to really play with confidence. And so that's someone that you can justify, okay, we gave him the money, and he started to play like it. But with Tua, he was kind of staying flatline his entire time. I think that's why we kind of had that perception about him juxtaposed to the money.
That's Emory Hunt of CBS Sports here with us on the show. If you missed any of that or want to send it to a friend, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you download podcasts, you hear every interview here on Ramon and Will. Appreciate Emory and good perspective on quarterback proofing the roster for Cam Ward. Coming up next, the Nashville Predators are rolling, and there's a big decision coming up they've got to make that is going to greatly impact their ability to win in both the near and long-term futures. We'll talk about that next. Ramona Will rolls on, wrapping up hour one on 104.5 The Zone. Yes, we are live. And yes, you can still stream us and hop in the F&M Bank chat, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, whether you're working today or not. Glad you decided to spend some of your Christmas Eve morning with us. Nashville Predators get a 3-2 win last night over the Minnesota Wild. And I don't know how much you guys have been watching recently. Maybe you tuned out. I'm here to tell you it's time to tune back in. Predators 10-4 in the last 14 games. Whether or not the Preds can go on a run, be a postseason team, still meet their goals for 2025-26, obviously remains to be seen. Obviously, there are still big hurdles to climb, including a 6-game road trip after their Christmas break, that they're going to have to manage and handle in order to be taken seriously in the National Hockey League this season. However, things are about to get interesting because of the looming decisions they've got to make leading up over these next couple of months to the NHL trade deadline. Steven Stamkos is starting to look like Steven Stamkos again. Overtime winner last night. He has game-winning goals in 3 straight, becoming the 3rd player in Nashville Predators franchise history with the winning goal in 3 consecutive games following Mike Fisher and Steve Sullivan. It's been 13 years since a player's done what he's done, having 3 straight games with game winners. Mike Fisher did it in 2012 in late January, and Steve Sullivan did it early January in 2007. He's got a 5-game point streak, 5 goals, 3 assists. Philip Forsberg with an assist has a 9-game point streak with 7 goals and 5 assists. Ryan O'Reilly playing well, 8-game point streak for him. This is not that far removed, by the way, from him literally standing in the locker room saying, yeah, I don't really have it right now. And Barry Trotz doing an interview with Alex Doherty of the Tennessean about a month ago as well, saying, yeah, I need a lot more from my players. I trust the coaching staff. I need more from my players. So the Predators are on a 3-game win streak, 10 victories in their last 14 overall. Roman Josi with a power play goal in this game as well. Stamkos with the overtime winner, his 597th career goal in game number 1,200. So all of this comes at an interesting time because Pierre LeBrun had an interesting piece in The Athletic on Monday about the Predators' upcoming decision to potentially continue the youth movement that was already scheduled for the middle of this season. Barry Trotz spoke to The Athletic on Monday, says sometimes people focus in on wins and losses and not necessarily the process. Fortunately, I can see the process downstairs here, how the coaches are working with the players, how the players are responding to the coaches. I just felt that the players were not giving up on the coaches, and the coaches weren't giving up on the players. They actually were coming together. My question is, how quickly does Barry Trotz give up on the short term for the benefit of the long-term health of the Nashville Predators? Pierre LeBrun writes in The Athletic, the perfect scenario for the Preds is that in the here and now, they remain competitive within shouting distance of the wild card race. But in the bigger picture, Barry Trotz won't deviate from the plan to continue to integrate more youth in his lineup over time as the roster transitions. Which means, LeBrun writes, that while the temperature has gone down around the team, my sense is the Preds GM is still open to listening on veterans like Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault, both of whom have full no-movement clauses as we get closer to the March 6th trade deadline. Barry Trotz quoted as saying, the guys are playing well right now as a team. Let's see where it goes. We're going to go about our business, and we'll see how well it plays out in the next 2 months here. Steven Stamkos tweeted this, Alex Doherty tweeted this about Steven Stamkos last night. First 22 games, Steven Stamkos had 4 goals and 1 assist. Just nowhere near what the Predators needed from him. Over the last 14 games, Steven Stamkos has 11 goals and 6 assists. Justin, they got a big decision to make. Do you capitalize off of a now more inflated value on Stamkos as we get closer to trade deadline talk, which is still a good ways away? Or do you hope that this team really can come together? All going to depend on how much faith Barry Trotz really does have in this team and how important it is to get some of the younger guys mixed in there this season.
Yeah, you got a lot of time. It's just December. You've had a really good December, 8 games that you've won out of 11, so you're having a very good December. a March 6th deadline. You've got plenty of time. You still got the All-Star break. There's no need to make rash decisions. What a difference a month can make for the Preds. I mean, just UC Saros is known to have slow starts, right? In the month of November, he was averaging 3.35 goals against. In the month of December, 2.5. A major difference. A 873 save percentage in November, 917 in December. So, like, this team is slowly figuring out. Their power play is starting to come along. They've had, I think, it's 3 or 4 power play goals in the last 2 or 3 games. So they've got 18% on the season now. So they're coming up. Their penalty kill is one of the top 10 in the league. This team is slowly figuring it out. Yes, it's the youth movement, but it's just like the Titans. You have to go through the process and figure out what you have in all 4 of your lines there. And that's what they're doing. Unfortunately, the Preds have had a lot of bad seasons lately.
Yeah.
So that pressure for Andrew Burnett, for Barry Trotz, it's a little bit of a hot seat. Now, Trotz is known to be a little bit patient. Doesn't bode well for the fans who have to sit and watch the product, but now they're starting to figure it out. So now you just have to give it a little bit extra time and wait for that March deadline to see what you want to do. But right now, let's stay patient. Let's stay cool because they are figuring it out. Let's see if it's not just a December thing. Let's see if it's a January, February. A good tool in hockey is to reevaluate after the All-Star break.
Yeah, for sure.
If they take a decline, sure, go for it.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I tend to think that this resurgence by Steven Stamkos is really good news for what the Predators can get for him at the trade deadline in March. We just need him to continue this into January and February. I don't think this team's ceiling is high enough for you to just wait around and trust that this is really all that sustainable. I'd love to be wrong. But either way, whether or not this is a short-term resurgence that allows you to be competitive in the immediate future, or it's just a guy that is getting hot at the right time and earning the ability to get you more draft compensation than what you would have gotten for him a month or two prior. Both of those things, good news for a Predators team that for a minute there looked like it had very little direction and very little hope in the short term.
And I do not envy Barry Trotz.
615-737-1045 is our number. There are 3 things on my Titans Christmas list for the last 2 weeks of the regular season. I'll tell you what they are next.
7:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs Studios. Merry Christmas Eve. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Nashville Predators win again last night as they take down the Minnesota Wild 3-2 in overtime to get their third straight win and eighth win of the month. Steven Stamkos had the tip in during the overtime period, securing the 2 points for the Preds, and it's been a hot last 14 games for Steven Stamkos compared to the first 22 games this season. In the first 22, he had 4 goals and an assist, but the last 14, he's got 11 goals and 6 assists. In NFL news, Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf, his suspension was upheld yesterday and will miss the final 2 games of the regular season. He will also forego over $500,000 in salary this season, and then he'll also have $45 million in future guarantees voided. Also, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who suffered a back injury last week, did not practice yesterday. The Ravens play the Packers in Green Bay Saturday night. If he cannot go, it's backup Snoop Huntley, who will take over. And Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell revealed yesterday that quarterback J.J. McCarthy has a hairline fracture in his throwing hand, but will not require surgery. McCarthy will, however, miss this week's game against the Lions tomorrow on Christmas Day. Backup quarterback Max Brosmer will get the start in his place. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into hour number 2. Merry Christmas Eve from all of us here on Ramon and Will and on 104.5 The Zone. Glad you are with us and waking up this morning, whether you are headed to work or chilling around the fire with 104.5 The Zone TV streaming, with a wreath around YouTube, a smart device. We're glad you're here. 615-737-1045 if you do want to jump into the discussion. Myself, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins at the controls, and 104.5 The Zone TV, of course. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Justin, before we get to the Titans Christmas list, what was on your actual Christmas list? Did you have one big item? Everybody's got one big item every year.
So I love Crocs.
Do you?
Yeah. So
I didn't know this about you.
I'm not like Bert, and I don't wear them to work. But I wear them literally everywhere around the house. Okay. They are my house shoes. So that's one thing. Also, I wanted a Tennessee Vols sweater.
Hey.
Or sweatshirt.
Well,
so,
we'll see. Plenty of folks make a fine one, including our friends at Volunteer Traditions.
That's about it. What about you?
I want a 7-wood.
A 7?
A 7-wood is the get out of jail free card golf club. And I
never heard of a 7-wood.
7-wood, yeah, it's all the rage for people that are way better at golf than I am.
See, for me, I love a hybrid.
Yeah, that's
probably the best club I have in my bag.
It's a club I'd love to be able to hit
because I can always rely on it. I can always go at least 200 with it.
Yeah, solid.
I can go straight.
Solid.
Yeah. Any other club, it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
Literally hit or miss.
Ping 7-wood, what we wanted.
That's cool.
I have a Titans wish list, Justin. 3 things that I have that I am giving to Santa himself that I want to see Sunday against the New Orleans Saints and the following weekend against the Jacksonville Jaguars. 3 things about this football team that I want to see. Number 3 on that list, I want continued progress. I want good secondary play against 2 good quarterbacks. Tyler Shuck is coming to town this Sunday. Santa Shuck, rookie quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. This guy's pretty good. If you listen to this show in the offseason, you know I was probably more down on him than most other people. I just felt like he hadn't played enough college football. I feel like he'd practiced a lot of college football, hadn't played a lot of college football. He's proven me wrong so far. 32 of 49, 308, and a touchdown, no picks against the New York Jets over the weekend. He's got an 89.5 passer rating in that game, his first 300-plus yard game. And he's got Chris Olave to throw to, who is going to be a problem the Titans have got to solve this weekend. 10 catches for 148 for Olave. He has completely reemerged as a legit wide receiver 1, because for the first time for him in probably a hot minute, he's got legit quarterback play. 92 catches this season. That's already a career high. 79 receiving yards short of making it career highs in touchdowns, receptions, and receiving yards as the Saints come to town this weekend. Had 5 of his 6 targets caught for 75 yards and a touchdown against man coverage last weekend. Marcus Harris's injury, probably a part of this. Kevin Winston Jr. on IR. His season is done. He showed flashes. Who else can step up in the secondary? Whether that be one of the guys like Jalen Armour-Davis or Darrell Baker trying to earn opportunities for the future. Obviously, the safety room has changed significantly. Someone like Amani Hooker, who is wanting to finish the season on a high note, already rewarded with a new contract before the season started. It is no secret. The Titans are going to have a much different looking secondary in a lot of ways in 2026. I think more for the short term even. Can this secondary just weather the storm and get to the Jacksonville Jaguars game in Week 18 and just do enough to allow this offense to stay in games? I'm not asking much of these guys to just totally earn starting roles in 2026. And yeah, there are snaps to be earned for this team moving forward into the offseason and moving forward into next season. But in a position on this team that I think is as up in the air and as unknown heading into next season as any other, who can step up over these last couple of weeks to just give the offense a chance to not have totally separated scores? And that's something Coach Mack has talked a ton about on Titans radio this season. The Titans offense is not built to have a lot of success in separated scores when you are in obvious passing situations. Number 3 on my wish list, the secondary does enough to keep games close and allow the offense to have the full array of the playbook at their disposal.
For me, and I'll keep it short, is kind of correspond off of that is a way to keep for the secondary to have some success is the defensive front there. Jeffrey Simmons has not, in his career with the Titans, he's not had 10 sacks. He's got 9.5 this season. For the secondary to have some success, you need some defensive help there up front. I think if Jeffrey Simmons can get some pressure on this offensive line, who's done well to take care of Tyler Shuck, if he can get some pressure and he can get that 10th sack, that would be my wish list.
Number 2 for me, we've talked a lot about this down the stretch this season, and we've started to get what we asked for. I want solid tackle play from Dan Moore and J.C. Latham to finish the season. J.C. Latham has gone 2 straight games without giving up a sack. He's allowed 6 pressures in the last 4 games. 3 of them came at San Francisco in one game. PFF, Pro Football Focus, has yellow, red, and varying shades of green. And his grades, obviously green meaning good, are starting to look a little bit like a Christmas tree. A lot of green. 5 of the last 6, 68 plus grades in pass blocking. On the other side, Dan Moore has gone 4 straight games without giving up a sack. For the first time as a Titan, last weekend, he did not allow a single pressure in the Titans' win over the Kansas City Chiefs. 89.4 pass block grade for him against KC. That was coming off a game against Cleveland a couple weeks prior where he had a season-low 23.0 pass block grade. Dan has given up 8 sacks according to Pro Football Focus this season, but he still was the best immediate option for Cam Ward's success at left tackle. To the point that Emory Hunt made, that we revisited in hour 1, what does the Titans' short-term future look like on the offensive line? Remains to be seen. In my opinion, you give J.C. Latham a 3rd season at tackle next year at right tackle. I know there is a lot of talk about moving him inside. Ramon has given some fuel to that fire, and I think, I don't want to totally misrepresent Ramon's point, but I think that is a long-term vision that is still a break glass in case of emergency route that maybe you're not forced to take yet. I still believe, and I know Ramon does too, and I know I can speak for him on this, there is a big jump that happens for offensive linemen going into year 3 of their NFL careers. And I want to see if J.C. Latham can take some of this momentum from the back half of this season, apply that to another healthy offseason, and hit the ground running and not totally be Peter Skoronski level good, because Peter Skoronski has been sensational this season, but have a kind of year 3 jump akin to what Skoronski has done at left guard this season. That is my wish for the Titans at tackle. Cam Ward has something to do with that because Cam's ability to get the ball out more quickly and help those tackles, I think certainly is a reason why you're starting to see those sack numbers go down. Can the pocket presence, can the tackle ability for those guys at the edge continue to elevate? If so, then we can start addressing more needs with cap dollars, with draft picks on skill positions and defense if you don't have to totally rebuild that line going into this offseason. I don't know if 2 games are going to totally change your plan the way that works. Health obviously would if one of these guys got hurt going into the last 2 games. But I do think that there is an opportunity here for some of these linemen to prove, like, no, we're good. As Cam's starting to get the ball out more quickly, we're getting better at protecting him as well.
There's an excitement level of how you end the season because that's the last thing you see before the next year. If the last thing you see is success, then you're going to feel a little bit excited. If the last thing you see is failure or not success, then you're not going to be as excited. I think one thing that's also helped J.C. Latham, Dan Moore, and Cam Ward with the sacks and the pressures is the success of the run game. Tony Pollard, 100 yards rushing in the last 3 games. Since Cleveland, I think you can use that as a vantage point into how that kind of catapulted the offense a little bit now that you can have a well-balanced game. I think that's kind of my wish list number 2 is Tony Pollard just to keep it going. Keep the ground game going.
I like it.
Take the pressure off of those who don't need the pressure.
The number one thing on my Christmas list for the Titans over the last 2 games is not groundbreaking analysis, but I want 2 more games like last week for Cam Ward. Pre-bye week, 57% completion, 5.4 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, 6 picks, 72 quarterback rating. Post-bye week, he's 7 percentage points higher, 64% completion, 5.5 yards per attempt, a number I'd like to see get up a little bit more, but 8 touchdowns, 1 pick, 89.3 QB rating. Cam's getting better. He's figuring out how to beat the blitz, 9 of 13, 117 and a touchdown against the blitz against Kansas City. Still a pretty good defense. I know they're playing their first meaningless, quote-unquote, game in terms of playoffs in a long time, but I still have a lot of respect for Steve Spagnuolo's defense, and I still have a lot of respect for a test that Cam Ward wasn't passing early in the season that he aced on Sunday. How do you beat the jailbreak blitzes? Well, you make accurate throws downfield, you be decisive about where you're going with the football, and you get that thing out quickly. He did. I want to see it 2 more times. The Saints sacked Brady Cook, the Jets quarterback, 8 times over the weekend. They've got 2 games this season of 5+ sacks, including obviously that one on Sunday. Cam Jordan is still playing at a really high level. Chase Young, Carl Granderson. It's a solid New Orleans front led by defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. You give me 2 more games like last Sunday, and all of a sudden this job becomes very attractive, I think, for head coaching candidates at the 26 coaching carousel in the NFL.
I want something in ways of 3.
Okay.
Cam Ward has not thrown for 300 yards this season. He's had a couple 250s.
Saints haven't given up a 300-yard passer yet this year either.
Cam Ward has not thrown for 3 touchdowns. I want Cam to hit another milestone this Sunday. Prove to me that you can keep the success train rolling. Give me $3. Give me 300 yards passing. Give me 3 touchdowns. I think that's the way you end this year strong.
I like it. I like it a lot. Let's go to Chris in Nashville talking Titans this morning. Hey, Chris. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
So, I have a little bit of concern with the new stadium and such, changing gears just a little bit. But and this has been somewhat of a problem for years now that the away team is consistently outnumbering us at home. Even the commentators Sunday mentioned, there's way more Chiefs fans here. And I think that, a lot of the greater Middle Tennessee area is being priced out. It costs $300, $400, $500 for an outing, for 2. And yeah, you can do that if you're coming to Nashville on a trip or you want to see your away team, but doing that week to week, I think is problematic. And I was just wanted to hear you guys' thoughts about, what does that look like with the new stadium? How are we, and I understand that some of it is, the record and the way we're playing, but how are we going to consistently feel, the new stadium, especially with fans that actually care, that are there to get loud and, actually give us a little bit of home field advantage.
Sure. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the call. I think it's a good question. I think it's one that they will not only have to answer with a plan before the stadium opens, but continue to answer with in-game experience, with different things that make this a better overall viewing experience for fans in Middle Tennessee. I think the number one thing is that this fan base has always shown that it will show up and I think be louder than what it gets credit for when this team is ascending and kind of on the up and up, right? Like the Titans have a unique challenge being an SEC country that ticket holders, whether you are a season ticket holder or you're there for a couple games a season, they have so many options in this area of the country, right? Like in the Northeast and Chicago and the Midwest, in traditional NFL markets, you've just been around longer as a team in that city and you've got deeper generational roots that keep you more grounded in going to every game, whether or not you are winning or losing. Again, I'm not blaming anyone for this. I think it makes total sense. You also have less options. You are less likely, if you are a Chicago Bears fan, if the Bears stink, say, oh, well, we'll just, we'll get Northwestern season tickets. How many Northwestern fans are there really, like, respectfully? I mean, their new stadiums could be nice, but like, other than maybe Notre Dame, like, what are the competing interests? Illinois, Wisconsin.
It's Notre Dame.
Because Wisconsin football's not far away.
Indiana's
that's a big fan base. Nobody cares about Indiana football. Indiana fans don't care about Indiana football. Yeah, exactly. Best example. But to that point, we have so many options. And I think for so many fans in this area of the country, if you feel like Sundays are tough and you're seeing losses and you're being challenged by that, well, maybe you're more likely to just go get Tennessee season tickets or try to go to more Vols games, try to go to more Alabama games, Auburn games, Ole Miss games, Kentucky games, like even basketball. There's, again, we joke about how many Auburn fans are in Nashville. Like, oh, just go see Auburn basketball more. Like, there's just so many options and competing interests.
Well, people just want to come into town.
There are more deeper-rooted college loyalties that you are competing against that I don't think longer-standing pro sports franchise fan bases are competing against. I think that is number one. I think the second part of it is if you make the viewing experience more convenient for Titans fans, are they more likely to still stomach, even if the rebuild has continued into the new stadium opening? Like, hey, the food is so good at the stadium, I'm there. Or hey, I don't have to wait 10 minutes for the bathroom. I don't have to wait 10 minutes to get into the stadium, the ingress and the egress. Hey, I got bars I can go sit at. I've got my favorite food. Like, if you make that experience more enjoyable, I do think it will make a difference. And I do think, just speaking for myself, even as someone who's been a fan of this team for forever, that makes a difference for me. Like, what can I go eat or drink matters. How quickly am I going to be able to get up and go to the bathroom? Is this a comfortable viewing experience? I do think that will play a role, but ultimately the number one thing they got to do is win football games. And this fan base has always shown that it will show up. And I even think this year, I think even when the Titans have been around a lot of road fans, I think the fans who are there care a lot. I have a lot of respect for the noise they will still make, even when there are a lot of other people that are not cheering with their team in the building with them. So it's kind of a long way to answer your question, Chris. It's something I've thought a lot about, something I've lived a lot through as a lifelong fan of this team. But I do think there are better days ahead in that realm. At the same time, you're always going to have a lot of road fans who want to come to Nashville. Dallas Cowboys deal with it. SoFi deals with it. Vegas obviously deals with it. This is not a uniquely Titans problem.
You're a tourist attraction.
Right. Unlike cities like Cincinnati and Cleveland, people actually want to visit your city. And so there's always going to be an element of fans coming here. And I think some of that is okay. And some of that, we get better roads and schools out of it. Coming up, Thursday 3 on Wednesday. Picks against the spread for the football weekend is next. When it comes to ensuring clean air in your home, Lee Company delivers. Their award-winning team provides thorough whole home duct cleaning services that eliminate dust, debris, and other allergens from your HVAC system. The result? Improved air quality, enhanced system efficiency, and peace of mind. Even better, Lee Company is offering 10% off a whole home duct cleaning for a limited time. So why wait? Schedule online at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com for their duct cleaning services. Hey, look, you may be around the house more during the holiday season. You're taking more time off over these past few weeks, and you're realizing maybe that to-do list of things that got to get done around the house, it needs to be a little bit longer. And maybe you're not willing to really do it all yourself. Just get Lee Company out there. That's what I love about working with Lee Company. Over 80 years of experience serving Middle Tennessee. You can schedule an appointment online at leecompany.com. So get 10% off a whole home duct cleaning for a limited time. Online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. Ramona Will continues on this Christmas Eve morning. Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins at Ramon and Will on Twitter, where you get us. Ramon is out today and will be back with us on Monday, as this is our final show of the week, which means it is our final opportunity, Justin, to look ahead and make some people U.S. currency. Look, a lot of folks are going to be looking at their bank accounts on Friday, thinking, I spent how much on Christmas gifts? It does add up quickly. I would like to make some of that money back for the people.
Just like the chestnuts that are roasting, we are going to roast our Bix.
There you are. Outstanding. Thursday 3 picks were better last week. It would have been hard for them to be worse, considering a couple weeks ago we were atrocious. But that's in the past. You went 3-0. You're back.
Hey, I'm back, baby.
Bounced back in a big way.
Hawks, All right.
You're 29. All right, enough. You're 29-22. Woohoo! Ramon was 2-1. He is also 29-22. Very solid, by the way.
Yeah, well, he's not here today, so we get to pick for him, right?
No, we do not. We will let him pick.
Dang.
We have to respect the meritocracy of the Thursday 3. I was 2-1 last week. I'm 25-26. Trying to get back to 500 after I got over the Mendoza line, and then I dropped back below it. So we got a lot of NFL choices. I am totally on the NFL.
Really?
Because my worst pick last week, remember, I was so confident in Memphis covering 4.5 and beating NC State outright, and they got destroyed. Absolutely destroyed.
Did they even show
by
up?
NC State? No, they did not.
Some people are asking.
No, they did not. I should have gone with my deeper-rooted disdain for Memphis University and, Memphis that you're just kind of born with when you're born in Nashville.
Your reasoning for picking Memphis actually makes me think maybe I shouldn't go with one of my picks today, but you know what?
Okay.
We'll go with it.
Lead us off then.
All right, let's start with Penn State versus Clemson. So your reasoning for Memphis last week was because of their bowl streak winning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Clemson, outside of New Year's Day games, they haven't lost a bowl game since 2010. So
Clemson?
Huh?
Oh, outside of New Year's Day games.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I was going to say, Joe Milton threw an orange past him.
If they're
past
not
Clemson
playing on New
countless
Year's
times.
Day,
Okay.
they haven't lost since 2010.
Okay.
And that includes a couple of national championships.
We're
and
doing
this
a little bit of gymnastics there, but I'm rocking with you.
But like I said, with your reasoning against Memphis, it makes me think maybe. But anyways, they're only a 3-point favorite, so I feel pretty good about that. Penn State, they've got the new coach. The Lions still looking to send off their coach with a little bit of win as they bring in, what's his name? Campbell?
Matt Campbell?
Yeah,
from Iowa State.
So he's going to be watching to see what kind of prospects he's got, even though he has 0 people coming in. Actually, he's got like 3. What a terrible high school recruiting class that was.
Really bad. Yeah, really bad.
So star running backs Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, will they play in the game? The hard thing about bowl games this time of year is who's playing, who's not playing, who's going to the draft, who's being in the transfer portal.
And even if they're playing, do they care about playing?
Exactly.
Or are they just going through the motions?
So over the last bit of the season, Clemson won their last 4 games. They've only allowed 13.2 points per game. I'm going to go with Clemson here, -3.
Okay.
It's in New York, by the way. It's the Pinstripe Bowl.
Pinstripe Bowl. I don't know about you. I love a bowl game in a baseball stadium.
Oh, I know it's fantastic.
I don't know what it is. It's just
the aura of it all.
Yeah, it's the way that it's set up.
History.
I will tune in for at least 15 minutes of any kind of football game in a baseball stadium because it fascinates me. I don't know why it's so fascinating
Even
to me.
hockey games
but
at
just
a baseball stadium.
Sure. Like the way it's set up, those a little less so because the sight lines are so bad
Well, that's true.
on TV. But for football specifically, it's cool. Like the teams will run out of the dugout. Like, oh, look, it's the dugout. That's so cool.
Look.
It's like a movie star. Like, oh, the dugout. Wow. I loved him in his past work of baseball. Anyway.
And now you sound like the grandfather in Christmas Fake. Squirrel!
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just my my simple brain. Also, if you're trying to make Christmas Vacation references in every hour of the show, you're 2 for 2.
Let's go.
I love it. My first pick, I'm going to go to SoFi Stadium on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. for Texans and Chargers for my first pick. The over has cashed in only 6 of the Chargers' 15 games this season and only 5 of the Texans' 15 games this season. I like the under in this game. So C.J. Stroud while playing better, is still not super productive. He's not lighting the world on fire in terms of overall production. He has thrown for over 230 yards in just 5 of his 12 starts this season. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Chargers are winning in spite of their atrocious offensive line that has been totally beaten up with injuries. Now, obviously, in Tennessee, we know all about what Joe Alt does because he was a big draft crush here a couple of years ago. Not only are the Chargers missing him, they're also have been without Jamari Sawyer and Trey Pipkins. Well, both those guys are questionable to return in this game. Even if they do, how healthy are those guys? How healthy is this Chargers offensive line? Justin Herbert is playing well despite the fact that he is as pressured as any quarterback in the National Football League this season, especially over the last month as his offensive line has become more and more injured. Houston has won 7 straight to climb back into contention with the Jags in the AFC South. Their wins look pretty good in that span as well. Over Jacksonville, Buffalo, Indy, Kansas City, reinforcing the fact that I think the Texans are right up there at the top of the AFC in terms of contention. Second fewest yards allowed, lowest EPA per play while allowing the fewest points per game. They also have the second highest turnover differential in the league. The Houston Texans are number 1 in pass rush win rate and second in run stop win rate. I mean, this is the best defense of the National Football League to me. It's Houston and Philly. Chargers didn't allow any sacks in their Week 15 win over Dallas, but that's Dallas. They'd allowed 3+ sacks in 6 straight games. Going into last week, I think they will be struggling to keep Justin Herbert upright against one of the best defenses in the league. I think probably the best defense pound for pound in the NFL. Give me under 39.5 in Texans at Chargers Saturday at 3:30 p.m. in SoFi Stadium.
That's pretty low.
Very low. Mm-hmm. And I don't care.
Speaking of low, Ramon's going to go with the Steelers and Browns game.
Of course he is. He can't stay away.
Yeah, well, this is my pick for him.
No, stop, stop. We're going to let him pick later.
I will say, though, it is 33.5 points is the over-under for that game.
In Browns Steelers?
Yes.
Oh.
Would you take that? What would you do? The last game was 23-9, so it went under.
33.5 is very low.
Bad.
What's the weather in Cleveland? That's the important follow-up question.
It's just a bad city.
Yeah, let me guess. 30, cloudy, and a chance of snow.
Wow.
With 20-mile-an-hour winds. I haven't even looked yet, but I'm just guessing.
Snowballs flying through the air.
What do you know? Right now, it's 33 degrees in Cleveland. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Let's see. No, I'm going to find this now. I'm going to pay this off.
Well, while you're looking, I'm going to go with the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville on Saturday. Missouri and Virginia play. So the line opened as Missouri as a 7-point favorite. Now it's down to 4 points. So I'm still going to take Missouri at -4. I like it. I was concerned to see if Ahmad Hardy was going to play, one of the SEC's best running backs. Mm-hmm. He is going to play, it seems like. Bo Pribula has entered the transfer portal. Insert Matt Zollers, who has come in and played a few games this season. Done respectively well, I guess. But I'm looking at the defense. The Duke in the ACC championship game proved if you put a lot of pressure on Virginia, then you can make their offense kind of go kaput, so to speak. Yes, that is my pristine analyst there.
Sure.
But they had their playoff hopes dashed against Duke in the ACC championship game, Virginia did. And plus, Missouri is 4-0 against the spread when favored by a touchdown or less. Ahmad Hardy is the player to watch in this one. Over 1,500 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns. And here's a cool one. 40 runs this season of 10-plus yards.
Yeah, he's so good.
Missouri -4.
And he is re-signed with Missouri. He's going back next year.
Yeah. He's going to be pretty good in the NFL.
Summer conditions in Cleveland for Browns Steelers. 50 degrees this Sunday in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. How about that?
Almost 70 here.
I know. That's right. My second pick, let's go to the great, he says sarcastically, city of Cincinnati. Sunday at noon, the Arizona Cardinals are in town to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. I love the Bengals here. Love the Bengals here. Not only have the Cardinals lost 7 games in a row, they have failed to cover the spread in 6 of those 7 games. Meanwhile, Cincinnati has covered in 4 of the last 5. Bengals are 2-2 since the return of Joe Burrow at quarterback. The Cardinals are allowing an average of 34.7 points per game during their losing streak. Fourth highest EPA per play allowed as well. The Arizona Cardinals are also the walking wounded. Walter Nolan picked up an injury over the weekend. Garrett Williams has been out at corner. On offense, of course, you know about Kyler Murray's injury, but also without James Conner, Greg Dortch, Jonah Williams. Marvin Harrison Jr. has had a pretty disappointing season. He's been fine. He's shown flashes, but he has been nowhere close to the level that most Ohio State receivers are. And he's got a pretty good pedigree, obviously being the son of one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, and Marvin Harrison. I love the Bengals here. Bengals -7. I think they showed signs of life against Miami. They're doing that thing again where a Zach Taylor Bengals team will just all of a sudden look competent in December. And you're like, oh, what could have been?
Not last week or the week prior.
Right, but I mean last week. Last week they started doing that thing again where they start ascending and like, oh, okay, they're back. It could have been a fun season. Yeah. But in reality, it's just like 3 games. I think they'll do it again against Arizona. Bengals -7.
You just need to hope they don't pick and choose what week they want to play.
That's true.
Sunday, Jaguars at Indianapolis. They are a 6.5-point favorite. At least that's what it was last night. The Jags have won 6 straight. The Colts have lost 5. It's a tale of who's in and who's out for the Colts. They're very injured on both sides of the ball. Of course, you have Phillip Rivers, the 44-year-old insert at quarterback. The Jags, in their 6-game win streak, have won by an average of almost 19 points per game. Trevor Lawrence in those games threw for an average of 248.5 yards per game, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 3 of which came in Week 12 against the Cardinals. The Jags are just on fire right now. They're on track to win the AFC South, and with a little bit of help and 2 straight wins against the Colts this week, possibly the Titans. Nope, don't want that, but I'm not going to put that into existence. We're just saying they could win the AFC.
They could.
So I like the Jags here at 6.5, despite them being on the road. I don't really think it matters. The only difference is they're indoors. Oh well, no conditions. Yeah. I like the Jags in this spot.
Okay,
6.5.
I thought about that.
Division games are always hard.
They're tricky. But they're tricky. And Trevor Lawrence games are right. Tough because you never know what version of him you're going to get.
But lately he's been on fire.
Been really good.
Phillip Rivers,
really, really good.
Playing pretty well for a 44-year-old in just 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
But the defense also gave 48 points up.
Sure. I'm going to go against, I think, conventional wisdom on 49ers-Bears on Sunday Night Football. The Bears appear to be a very popular upset pick here. Getting 3 points. Caleb Williams has gotten a lot better this year. He's playing well. I don't trust him in a spot like this on the road in primetime. And so I'm going to go against the trend of the way San Francisco has played against pretty good quarterbacks this year and say, I got to see it from Caleb Williams in a spot like this. And given the opportunity to bet on a Robert Saleh defense, I know they are injured too. They can't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I'm going to bet on San Francisco to rise to the occasion defensively and do enough to help their offense that's on fire. It would be really helpful if George Kittle played in this game for my pick. Of 49ers -3 over the Chicago Bears. 5 of his 6 interceptions, Caleb Williams, have come on the road this year. 6.5 yards per attempt away from home, and that's with a game at Cincinnati mixed in to inflate the numbers, and it's well documented how bad the Bengals are defensively. I just got to see it from Caleb. I think they are due for him to take a slight step back, and there is a little margin for error considering how well Brock Purdy's playing right now. Seeing that team in person, I really respect what San Francisco is on offense right now. So I will take the 49ers to cover a 3-point spread at home on Sunday Night Football against the Chicago Bears. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, it could be a shootout.
I think it is. I think it absolutely is.
Yeah, it's a prove-it game, like you said.
For sure. Coming up, the NFL's got a problem, and you're about to learn a lot about it over the next 24 hours. I'll tell you what it means coming up next. When it comes to relocating, buying, or selling a home, the process is stressful. Look, during the holiday season, you got enough things to worry about. So make sure if you need to move, or if you've been thinking about moving, you want to go ahead and take that leap, you get the very best person to represent you and help you through the process. You need my good friend Bernie Gallerini of Bernie Gallerini Real Estate. Bernie Gallerini guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. There's no risk to you. Bernie will let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent who has the 30-day guarantee to sell your home. So go with a guarantee. Go with peace of mind. Go with Bernie Gallerini. You can start by knowing your home's true value by heading online to BernieGallerini.com, or you can call him at 615-428-2644. The only real estate agent I've personally endorsed in Middle Tennessee. You get the 30-day guarantee. You also get the only real estate agent in Nashville recommended by Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank. Make sure you call him, 615-428-2644 if you're buying or selling a home, or head online to BernieGallerini.com. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 2. Tonight's the night. Santa Claus coming to town. Brent Hubbs will come to the radio show in 10 minutes. Little Wednesday visit with VolQuest's Brent Hubbs. Ron Slay going to stop by in a half hour. Rhett Bryan is in the building. He will be in studio with me at 9 o'clock. So the NFL slate of games for Christmas Day might have us doing one of two things.
Finding out who's naughty or nice?
Switching to basketball or getting to know our families a little bit more intimately. These games are not good, Justin. They're not good at all. Noon tomorrow, the fun begins with Dallas at Washington. A good old Josh Johnson and Dak Prescott battle. Ugh. Marcus Mariota's status is up in the air. Josh Johnson potentially going to get a second start. It's the number 5 passing offense for Dallas against the number 31 pass defense for Washington. Two teams that are bottom 5 in turnover differential. The 2 worst passing defenses in the league going head-to-head. So we got that going for us. Washington has been so banged up on defense. And we're going to talk about Detroit in a minute. They're kind of in the same boat. No Marshawn Lattimore, no rookie Trey Amos. I'm starting to really worry about Washington. They have been awful this season. And I wonder if they were a little bit of a flash in the pan last year. Jaden Daniels has been hurt. That hasn't helped.
He's only played half the year, I think.
But even if Jaden Daniels was in there, I don't think this is a team that's going anywhere. As bad as they are on defense, obviously losing Jonathan Allen has hurt them. But they're a rough watch. So we'll see if Dallas's pass defense is bad enough for Josh Johnson to light them up. And same could be said for Dak Prescott, who will probably have a lot of success against that Commanders defense. But brutal what has happened in Washington this season.
You can't always buy your way to success. And I feel like that's what Washington did. So you have 1 year of success and you have some injuries and then people just don't pan out.
Sure.
Debo doesn't look like he was all that he's cracked up to be. He looks like he's on a downward trajectory to his career. It's kind of upsetting, but because of what Jaden Daniels did last year. But yeah, I don't know if I'm really going to be watching that game. The schedule, the 3-game schedule, looked fantastic when you got the schedule back in May.
Yeah, 100%.
But now it looks dreadful.
100%.
Dreadful.
NFC North matchup in Minnesota where the 8-7 Lions go to the 7-8 Vikings. That's 3:30. Detroit needs a 2-0 finish and a lot of help. They are favored by 7.5 here on the road against Max Brosmer at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Again, can a backup quarterback find success against a makeshift secondary? Lions without Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, and Terrion Arnold in their secondary. Not sure they can stop Justin Jefferson even with a bad quarterback. I'm really interested in Brian Flores still as a Titans head coaching candidate. I think if you are looking at the kind of personality, the kind of culture builder, the kind of rugged, no-nonsense, tough coach that I think this organization could benefit from, Brian Flores is that. His Vikings defense, this is crazy. I was looking at some of the stats yesterday on how they've come after opposing quarterbacks. They have blitzed on 48.8% of dropbacks this season. That is the only defense over 40% in the NFL this year. The Vikings also lead the league in pressure rate at 41.3%. In Week 16, they were without Jonathan Grenard, who was on IR. Dallas Turner and Jalen Redmond led the team in pressures. They had 47% pressure in Week 16 against the Giants, who famously did not give Brian Flores much of a fair chance for their head coaching position when they hired another Brian. We know the story, Brian Dable. Their blitz rate is the 3rd highest by any team in the NFL since 2018, trailing only the 2023 Vikings at 50.3%. And Wink Martindale's 2019 Ravens at 51.5%. I am, to be honest with you, watching a lot of NFL football in the context of, are these coordinators head coach options? I'll be watching the Vikings closely to A, hear what they say about Brian Flores as a head coaching candidate, and B, to become more familiar with that defense. Because I think Brian Flores is still a very legit candidate to be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
It's very unfortunate that he gets overlooked more often than not. I mean, he's a very good coordinator. He's a good culture guy. That was never the problem in Miami. It's just that whole situation just really was a detriment to his now success.
Well, and you think his opinion of Tua Tagovailoa has kind of aged pretty well now?
Exactly.
I think he was probably on the right side of history.
You think that might be a good conversation with some of these teams that are prospectively looking like Tennessee Titans?
Well, and two, I think if there's any quarterback that's going to deal with Brian Flores's tough love kind of way of coaching, it's Cam Ward. I don't see Cam Ward being the type of quarterback that's going to shy away from being challenged every day, not only on the practice field, but just in the building. Like I think Brian Flores is a legit candidate.
Yep.
Broncos at Chiefs at 7:15 on Christmas.
Woof.
The Denver Broncos are favored by 13.5 in Arrowhead.
I was going to take that game for our picks, but that's just a big spread.
13.5. And honestly, I don't blame them because the Chiefs have used 12 different offensive line combinations for at least 10 snaps this season. You know how crazy that is? 12 different offensive line combinations for at least 10 snaps. That is the fourth most in the NFL. And they are going up against the team in Denver who have generated a 41.1% pressure rate this year, second highest in the league. Chris Oladokun, the Chiefs' third-string quarterback against the Titans in Week 16, threw behind the line of scrimmage 44% of the time. Threw only 18% of the time down the field. Lower than Patrick Mahomes' rate in any game this season. Of course, I'm not surprising any of you by saying that. All I can say about Broncos and Chiefs, Justin, is it's a good thing that Stranger Things comes out at 7 o'clock.
Does it really?
Yeah. Christmas Day, 3 more episodes, Volume 2 of Season 5. Chapter 5,
I haven't watched that since, what was it, Season 2? So I'm way out of the loop there.
You know this about me. I am a big Stranger Things.
See, Nick Bonito, did he make the Pro Bowl?
That's a great question.
I feel like when I was looking at the roster yesterday, he did not, but I could be overlooking it. If not, that's a huge snub there. I think the Broncos come in as the desperate team. I don't think they're really going to have any problem with winning, but they come in as the desperate team as they're still trying to lock up that AFC.
He did make it, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Plus, you got the Chargers who are coming up your next, so they have a lot of pressure on them, the Broncos do. The Chiefs, obviously, they're just playing for, I don't know. You name it. What are they playing for?
For fun.
Exactly.
For Travis Kelce to go out on a high note before he retires.
So they can throw the pigskin around. Maybe get a touchdown or two.
Really, that's just what we all want at the end of the day, just to throw the pigskin.
Just a little Christmas gift.
Coming up, we'll preview Music City Bowl action, which is less than a week away. Kind of snuck up on us a little bit with everything else going on. Brent Hubbs of AllQuest joins us for his weekly visit a couple days early, coming up next.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay, though.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams.
I love living in Middle Tennessee. We've got great restaurants, entertainment, sports, and one of the nation's top Ford dealers right here in our backyard. Two Rivers Ford. Remember that name. Two Rivers has been a staple in our community since 1983. They're locally owned. They have a non-commissioned sales team, and they sell below MSRP. They've been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
.802, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs Studios. Merry Christmas Eve. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Nashville Predators, they win again last night as they take down the Minnesota Wild 3-2 in overtime. And they win their third straight and eighth win of December. Steven Stamkos had the tip in during the overtime period, securing the 2 points for the Preds. And it's been a hot last 14 games for Stamkos compared to the first 22. And in those first 22, had 4 goals and 1 assist. But the last 14, he's got 11 goals and 6 assists. In NFL news, Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf, his suspension was upheld yesterday. He'll miss the final 2 games of the regular season, foregoing over $500,000 in salary this season and having $45 million in future guarantees voided. Also, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who suffered a back injury in last week's game, did not practice yesterday. Ravens play the Packers in Green Bay on Saturday night. Snoop Huntley, the backup, would get the start if Jackson cannot go. And Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell revealed yesterday that quarterback J.J. McCarthy has a hairline fracture in his throwing hand, but will not require surgery. McCarthy will, however, miss this week's game against the Detroit Lions tomorrow on Christmas Day. Max Brosmer would get the start in his place. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show off and running on this Christmas Eve morning. Glad you are with us. Hope you're having a great week of family, of festivities, of traditions. On Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, we are excited for 2 more hours before our holiday can begin today. Justin Hawkins at the controls, myself, Will Bowling. Ramon Foster has the morning off, and we are pleased to be joined a little earlier in the week than usual by our good friend Brent Hubbs of VolQuest and On3 as we get ready for a Music City Bowl game that is within a week away. Brent, Merry Christmas. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm getting a little complex about Ramon. This is like 2 or 3 weeks that I've not talked to Ramon, and it's like he's gone into witness protection or something. So we'll see if he shows up for everybody. But next week for the bowl game. But Merry Christmas to you, Will. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. You guys know how much I enjoy being a part of your show. So thanks for allowing me to be a part of it all year long. Glad to be with you today, and plenty of things going on in the world of college athletics, good and bad, but plenty of things going on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being a part of our show. We are so grateful to have the very best in the business between you and Austin and VolQuest represented here, and very grateful for that. I will make sure Ramon has a name tag on the next time he sees you next Tuesday. Ramon also going to be gone next Wednesday as well, too, Brent. So we've got another...
Of course he is.
Another visit coming up next week.
What a hell of a negotiation he just went through. Good for Ramon.
Well, Brent,
I'm just kidding, Ramon. Everybody relax. Don't start sending me all the hate emails, okay? Ramon and I love to have fun with each other.
I love it.
Anyway, Merry Christmas to him, and obviously Merry Christmas to you and everybody out there.
I love it. Well, Brent, we are on the same wavelength this morning because my first question for you was really pretty similar to what you just wrote at VolQuest an hour ago. Josh Heupel's Christmas list, Brent, specifically just looking at this game next Tuesday against Illinois, and people can go read this at VolQuest.com, and the Christmas list you have for Tennessee football moving forward into the offseason as well. If there's one thing, Brent, you feel like Tennessee and Josh Heupel wants to accomplish next Tuesday against Illinois, what would be at that top of that list for Josh Heupel?
Aside from winning the game, I think you're trying to assess, to complete the assessment of where you are defensively for Jim Knowles. And I think it's one of those things where you've got to come out of that game and you've got to move and you've got to pivot really, really quickly. You should already know what you're planning on doing with your staff, but you make that formally done. But then it's what do you got to go finish out in the portal? What do you think you got to have? And listen, I don't want to take anything away from the bowl game because it's still a competition, even though it doesn't have the prestige that it once had playing in a bowl game. And if you win the bowl game, Tennessee fans are going to go, well, okay, whatever, yeah, it was a bowl game. If you lose the game, then everybody's going to be gnashing of the teeth at Josh Heupel and all that stuff. So there's really no win for Josh Heupel in the bowl game ultimately, but you have to look at it and you have to pivot quickly to 2026. And that's an interesting situation because the debate always rages on about how do you use a bowl game? Is it an exhibition? What do you do? Obviously 2 years ago, Tennessee elected to go in a different direction quarterback-wise, and Joe Milton didn't play. That's not the direction and not the way it's going this bowl game. So, what do you know about your team? And obviously immediately all your thoughts will shift to 26 and beyond there with the portal opening up. So I don't know that he's got anything specific on his wish list other than Knowles completing, okay, maybe we're a little better here than I thought when I see him compete, or maybe he feels like he needs something more or something different than what he thought coming out of his evaluation of practice. I think you know where you are offensively. I don't think you have a whole lot of question marks there other than the quarterback spot. And, there's no way you're going to get an answer for that in a bowl game if Joey Aguilar is your starting quarterback.
Brent, why do you think that was important to Josh Heupel, to Tennessee? Obviously, we know Joey Aguilar's motivation as someone with a very different NFL future, even than Joe Milton had a couple of years ago. Why ultimately do you think Tennessee came to that collective decision to still have Joey Aguilar and really put their best foot forward in this game versus look to the future with George McIntyre?
Well, I think Joey wanted to play, and I think in this day and age of opt-outs and guys not playing, I think there's I think it was a delicate thing with Joe Milton to make sure everybody understood that was Joe's decision, and you weren't just moving on from somebody, and you didn't value capping off the season the right way. And everybody seemed to be okay with that against Iowa, but you wanted to make. I mean, that was very delicate how Tennessee walked that line there. I mean, remember the news that Nico was going to start didn't break till they got to a bowl site. They went through all bowl practice in Knoxville, and Nico got more reps, but it was not a known deal that Joe wasn't going to play in that thing. And I think ultimately the decision was Joe's to not play in that game, and I think that's always where you put the decision. I don't think you ever want to come tell a kid, hey, we don't want you to finish your career. You're done. And I don't think Joey Aguilar's last game in Orange, because again, I guess he could still win an extra year, but that seems unlikely at this point. That talk certainly has died down. I don't think he wanted his last moment in college football to be the Vanderbilt loss. And I think he wanted to play again. And I don't think Tennessee was going to deny him the opportunity or the ability, to play again, and if he wanted to play another football game. And I think that's where they landed with this thing.
Brent Hubbs of AllQuest on 3, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Brent, how much can Tennessee learn, or do you think did Tennessee learn about George McIntyre during the season? Because we've spoken with you and Austin about the early returns being really positive, and George maybe flashing in some of those preseason scrimmages. Obviously, in season, you are so focused on the next opponent that I would imagine it's hard for a third-string quarterback to be developed in real time when you go so long without really live game reps. What have you heard about his development over the season, and how much do you think Josh Heupel was able to learn about the young Nashville native quarterback who could be QB1 next fall?
Well, and that's a great point when you talk about why are they going the decision that they're going right now. Would it be fair to hand George the keys and say, hey, go beat a Big Ten team when, oh, by the way, you haven't played any snaps in a year, essentially? Is that the best thing to do for George, much less the best thing to do for the team, particularly if your starting quarterback wants to come back? I mean, I think once you get into season – and I think this was a challenge for George all year long. Is you want more reps, but you're not dividing those reps equally up once you get into season like you were in the preseason. And so did George get as many first-team reps once they started game planning? No, he did not. Did he get as many second-team reps as he wanted? No, he didn't, because he was splitting time back there with George or with Jake Merklinger. So he got work, and a lot of it was what he did on his own, but there was a lot of observing. He did some scout team things, obviously, and stuff like that. So, I mean, it wasn't like he didn't practice, but he didn't, he didn't continue to enhance his chemistry with Chris Brazzell and Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, and those guys like he was working on in the preseason, because the way you rotate your reps are very different. Now, Tennessee is a high rep practice team, and what I mean by that is shorter periods, but a lot of periods. You get a lot of reps thrown in there because of the pace that they practice at. But I mean, he wasn't getting a bunch of first team reps behind a bunch of guys. So, I think you see some physical development, mentally, a lot of stuff in the classroom or in the meeting rooms and that type of thing. But a lot of it he took in with mental reps on the practice field, and that's where this quarterback debate about the future is really interesting, because we don't get to see what all he did in the fall. I'm just going off what some people have told me and how their practice is structured. But the decision Josh Heupel is making is, do I think George is mentally and physically ready to play in 26? If he is, and I think I can win with him, it changes how you allocate your transfer portal budget and the money in there in terms of where you invest at what positions and that type of thing. Do I feel like I have to have a quarterback to come in and be the guy as a transfer guy next year? Then you're going to spend a lot of money on that guy. Is that the direction you want to go? The only person who's making that decision is Josh Heupel, and quite frankly, it's probably, no offense to Tim Banks and Jim Knowles, but it may be the biggest decision Josh Heupel's made since he's been the head coach at Tennessee.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When you look at running back, Brent, I know we talked about this a little bit last week, and since we've spoken, Peyton Lewis has announced his intentions to enter the transfer portal. How confident do you think this staff is in the Oakland product, DeJuan Morris, and the other freshman, Justin Baker, relative to a transfer running back that would also maybe come in and compete for one of those 3 spots if they decide to divide up the reps again next season like they did this year?
Well, I think you got to go get another one because you need 4 in your room. I don't think you want to go into a season with just 3. And I don't think that's a knock on Morris or even Justin Baker. I just think that you have to have that extra body in there that you believe can play, because you guys get nicked up at that position. You have ankle injuries, whatever type deals. Now, are they going to rotate as much next year? That's a different question. But I do think you've got to go get a running back. The question is, where are you going and how much money are you going to spend there? Are you going to go spend for a starter? Okay, how does that affect the dynamic of your room? You're bringing back a guy who's going to rush for 1,000 yards and was second team All SEC. Do you need to go try to get somebody over top of him in the portal? You look at the NFL, and there are running backs who came from every walk of life school-wise. I mean, from everywhere. We've seen it for years. I mean, some of your best Bryant Westbrook was one of the best running backs for a 3 or 4 year stretch in the NFL. He's from Villanova. You've had guys from William and Mary, Townsend State. I mean, they're from everywhere. So the question becomes, where do you go get somebody from? Do you go get somebody from a lower level that is a smaller price and maybe would not appear to be as disruptive, or do you go get a big name guy and hey, everybody just deals with it, you compete, and that'll be another part of this equation. But I think you have to have 4 scholarship guys in your running back room, the same way you've got to have 3 the old scholarship guys, so to speak, three guys in your quarterback room to play as well.
Brent, when you look at everything else other than quarterback that's got to be addressed in the transfer portal, what do you think is number 1 on a whiteboard somewhere in the Tennessee complex about the thing they've got to address the most in the transfer portal?
Well, it might be even one of these fancy balloon arches that they put together. Better say safety, because you've got to go get help at the safety position. You've got to be better at the safety spot. You've got to create depth in your secondary. So for me, it starts there. Now, I think you need some help on the defensive front. Do you need to go get a linebacker? What does that room look like ultimately after we get through the portal cycle? We'll see all those things. But I just think looking at it right now, based on everybody that's back in the secondary, you don't have enough bodies. You need volume back there, and you need talent back there in the secondary. I think you've got to go get help there, and I think it starts at safety.
He is Brent Hubbs of AllQuest, joining us normally on Fridays at 7:20 this morning on this Christmas Eve show. Brent, enjoy hopefully a little bit of time off for the Christmas holiday. Thank you for being part of the show. We really appreciate it, and thank you for joining me on another one-on-one that we'll do again next week.
I enjoy it, Will. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody listening out there. And I guess you got sleigh rolling in their necks, so everybody buckle up and hang on. So,
I love it. Yes, sir.
Merry Christmas to Ron Slay as well. I'm sure he's rolling in, and we'll talk to you guys soon. But everybody be safe in your travels and enjoy time with friends and family.
Love it. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. There's Brent Hubbs with us here this morning. A little Christmas Eve visit with him. He did the tease for me. Ron Slay joins us coming up next. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone continues. This is not the intro I expected for Ron Slay. Are we calling Slay? We're not calling Slay the Grinch, Justin. In no way, shape, or form.
Well, he's now confused me on how he's getting into the show, so he's Mr. Grinch. I mean, Slay Ride today.
Santa's sleigh, Ron Slay, about to join the show. You were going to call him, or you did call him, and Ron Slay has insisted on being seen today via the power of Zoom. Television's Ron Slay. You can see him everywhere. ESPN, SEC Network, talking hoops with his season in full swing at SEC play coming up in a week. That's Justin Efforts Slay's video here. Still working on it.
This is what happens when I don't have time to prepare.
Well, anyway, you can listen to the sounds of Mr. Grinch.
I will say he is dancing on the screen there, so I'll get him up in just a minute.
So he
but
can
he
hear
doesn't
us.
even have a costume on.
That's okay. Can we at least talk to him while you get him on the video? Slay, can you be heard?
Will Lee, I'm here.
There you go. Come on. Now we got it. What's going on? How are you?
Man, I'm cool, man. See, I said, man, if I can't make it in there with Will Lee, then guess what? The next best thing is being right there in video for the people, man. Being able to hold it down. I do got to give a quick shout out, man. Shout out to my guy, Brent Hubbs, who gave out the big Christmas cheer. You know what I mean? Austin Price on early in the week, but give some love to Brent Hubbs, man. Hubbs is my guy, man. Merry Christmas, you Hubbs. And the fam out there, man, make sure you out there in that garden doing something special for the good people, man.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk Tennessee. I want to talk about the Music City Bowl and Tennessee basketball, of course. But, Slay, I wanted to start with you on Cam Ward and the Titans and the meaning of playing better and winning some games. How meaningful are these last 3 games to you? How meaningful is it that Cam Ward may have taken the Titans out of running for the number 1 overall pick? I know on 3HL, you and our mutual friend, of course, Dawn Davenport, have had conversations about that because she's on one side of it. Where do you land on the meaning of the Titans trending upwards in December right now?
I'm right there, man, where the morale of the team is more important at this moment than I understand what the first pick, holds, the weight of it, the leverage you have as far as trying to go get draft capital and things of that nature. But man, you got to have the morale right. Guys haven't won. They understand. Big Jeff came out and said it too, man. Like, dude, it's difficult to win in this league, but you got to understand too where Cam's coming from at the same time. Like, this is his first year experiencing this. But these other guys been here the last 2 years and haven't been able to get wins. So to get them wins, man, that helps the morale. That is more attractive to people than a losing franchise. When you start talking about free agency, trying to get people to come here, like why would I want to come there, man? So y'all can get the number 1 pick again after. So I think, man, and also for the development. I was talking to Rick Gordion yesterday. Merry Christmas, you too, Red B. And was like, Rick Bryan for I call him Rick Gordion. Rick Bryan for the people at home. I was talking to him and I was like, dude, there's no substitute for experience. You know what I mean? And the reps. And especially successful reps. It's one thing to get out there and just be doing things wrong, like in the beginning of the season, you know what I'm saying, and not understanding what you're supposed to be looking for. But it's another thing to be able to go out and, like Cam saying, watching film, but being able to watch the success from film and being able to tweak those things a little bit. That's much better than the alternative as far as losing and trying to sustain that number 1 pick. But I mean, to each his own. It can go either way. We got a lot of holes to fill on the Titans on the roster coming into it. But I just think, man, as a competitor, you want to be able to have something to lean on, and have some momentum going into the offseason. So I think it's important. And however it shakes out, it's cool. You know what I mean? But you want to be competing at a high level. You know what I mean? And have that opportunity where you can say, darn, if we did this right, we would have won that game. So you can go back and tweak it. You know what I mean? You got something to look forward to when you go back in there on Monday or Tuesday, whenever you go back in there in the complex and in the film session. You don't want to just be going in there just sitting there, getting in the daily routine of, all right, we're going to do this, we're going to get beat by 30. You know what I mean? That's not cool for morale, man.
Well, and for me too, Slay, when you hear guys like Jeffrey Simmons after the game say, like, this is why I want to be here. After you beat the Chiefs, after Cam Ward kind of starts rewriting a little bit more of the rookie record book in Titans quarterback history, like you want guys like that to see enough signs of progress to be happy and want to stick around and also be able to still set an example for the other guys in the roster. Mike Borgonzi said it in the Titans trade deadline press conference a couple of months ago now. Like Jeffrey Simmons is here in part because of how he has shown a lot of these young players how to go to work every day and how to attack practice every single day. You want that to continue, Slay. And the way to do that is give yourselves some positives to build on. Like nobody's expecting this team to just become a contender overnight. Like I get it. It is a process, but part of that process is guys that are currently on the team getting better before we worry about guys that aren't even here yet getting in the building and getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's and it's more than just Big Jeff being able to show up and show those guys. That's what we had a chance to talk to Jim Lye yesterday, and him saying like he's seen L'Jarius Sneed around the building, other guys have been in and out. But that's the thing that you want to be able to see. You want to see these veterans coming back. Like you, hopefully, Calvin really is nursing his injury and being able to get back and seeing what you have in this wide receiver room that you go in there and build on. That's fun to be able to come back and work with, So I totally agree with you, Will. That's huge, and that's the way you establish. Like we continue to say this year in and year out, but that's the way you establish a culture. A culture is run on routine. You know what I'm saying? Like you able to plug and go with cultures, not necessarily resetting every single time trying to establish who you are. It's established already the year before, and when you come in, whether you need to change something or whether you need to keep that and build on that momentum, but it's already established. Even with the new coach come in, you understand what this team is. He can go put his own sprinkling seasoning on it, but you understand exactly who you are, what you're bumping into when you already have something that a winning formula in a sense as far as being competitive each day, day in and day out.
Switching gears, Slade, to another quarterback situation in Knoxville. Just got done talking to Brent Hubbs about it. Joey Aguilar, of course, going to play the Music City Bowl. Nashville native George McIntyre in the mix to be QB1 in 2026. And you've got names like Brendan Sorsby and Josh Hoover out there that have been linked with Tennessee. Where are you at on all of this? And what is your gut feeling on where Josh Heupel should go at quarterback next season?
Man, I think you got to have somebody to come in to we're going to throw this word around a lot, going into the offseason, competitive.
Right.
You got to have somebody come in and be competitive. I think we've seen what it looks like when given the keys, in a sense, and handed it over to a younger guy. And now GMAC has been into the program. He understands it. He's a little different than it was for Nico being able to walk into it and not having any experience. So George McIntyre is a little bit different, especially being able to enroll early. See things totally different. I think that's pretty good for him. But you want to have somebody that you can go out there and get and say, hey, man, this is who you have to compete against. If Faison, you can sit back, you compete as well, but check this out. This is how it's going to go. So get your feet wet. Understand this is the way it's supposed to look in the film room with the quarterbacks meeting, when they translate that to the practice field, when we get out there and start the scrimmaging, But then you have also another opportunity in this bowl game to kind of set up who you want to be walking into this too. And, so George will have a one-up regardless of how long he plays, but he'll have a one-up. And he, I believe, is a guy that doesn't run from competition either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's seen it. He could have chose to go elsewhere. Nico was there when he got there. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't shy away from that. He knew what Faison was coming in. He's been recruiting that man since a junior. So everybody knows what's on the table. He hasn't ran and hide one time, so I expect him to face it head on. But me, I would love to see a guy. Man, I was very impressed by Hoover last year.
Yeah.
Like I thought for this system.
Frog.
Whoo, Lord have mercy. Yeah. That dude, that man, he dropping in the bucket, dog.
He does.
So that's spot on. Bringing back a guy like Staley and Mike Matthews, and whoever else is be added and be thrown out there in that mix. This dude looks like he's official for us. So I would love to see him challenge for it. You know what I'm saying? So, it's all on hype. Like Hub said, this is going to be one of the most important decisions that he has to make, because now you don't have the situation we're trying to scramble and figure out, what we get. No, you have an offseason to really build You know what I mean? And you have pieces coming back, core pieces offensively, where you can be like, okay, we should be way better.
Right.
You know, so we'll see. But this is an important decision for him. Just like it was making a coaching change. That was an important decision. It's same thing for him.
It's certainly. And I think when you live in a college football world where you can go to the CFP semifinal and be fired and become the head coach at Virginia Tech in a 1-year span, obviously coaches know the kind of pressure that's on them at it's not Power 4, it's Power 2 program between the SEC and the Big Ten. The dream for me, Slay, is who is Tennessee football's Chaz Lanier? Who is Tennessee football's Dalton Knecht? Someone who is coveted in the transfer portal. Obviously, Chaz Lanier had suitors and had people that wanted him. From, I think, all the information that's out there, Slay, had people that were willing to offer more than what Tennessee did for his services in terms of an NIL perspective. But there's more to offer than just NIL. And is there a quarterback out there that's going to say, you know what, $2 million and playing for Josh Heupel, $2 million and playing in Neyland Stadium is worth more to me than $3 million and being in the Big 12, where I basically have a 2-game season at Texas Tech, or being in, the Big 10. Like, does the allure literally of just SEC football? I know that's not everything. I think especially now, Slay, in today's day and age with how much the dollar amount means, I'm not naive to the fact that non-traditional powers have stepped up, and all of that matters, but not to everyone. And in the same way we talk about, like, we can rank jobs for coaches, but for Clark Lee and his ranking of what job he wants, Vanderbilt's at the top. We could talk about Kenny Dillingham and all these different things. For him and his alma mater, Arizona State's at the top. Who's that quarterback that maybe has a little bit of a different order of priorities on what matters to them? Because, Slay, I don't think Tennessee needs to be in the top bidders in the quarterback transfer portal market. Josh Heupel has proven he doesn't need to do that. He can take $1 million quarterback and make him look like a $4 million quarterback. So let's use that extra $2 million and go get safeties, go get edge rushers, go get defensive tackles. Like, am I off base at any of this? Like, Chaz Lanier and Dalton Knecht are the dreams, and Tennessee basketball and Rick Barnes. Can they get involved in the football process at all? Like, I know Rick Barnes loves football as much as anybody in the world, Slay. He'd probably love the opportunity to help out.
I think so, Will. I think you're on track with it. And I think the biggest thing with that, the guys you're talking about, what they can do, what they did before getting there, and what's attractive to the situation at Tennessee and football is the fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily like what you're saying. It's not necessarily the dollar amount that comes along with it, but the fit that goes there. You absolutely have an opportunity to go out there and say, man, I can absolutely do more with less in this when it comes with what quarterback you're gonna go target. Like they were talking about the young man who has the girlfriend in Knoxville and his family. Sorsby. Like, all of that's cool. You know, and that's great. But if the fit isn't there, I don't care about what's going on the outside. Like, we've also seen a guy coming like Joey Aguilar and his family traveling in every game, and they still be embraced the same exact way. So whatever it is, you can be a transplant or you can be homegrown. Regardless, you're still gonna be loved the same if you go out there and you go through the process and you have production out there on the field. Well, I promise you, we're going to love you as much as T. Martin and Peyton. It is what it is.
That's right.
You know what I mean? The fan base is nuts like that. So it's up to Heupel, you know, and I think what's your priority? You know what I'm saying? When you look at that big whiteboard, what's your priority? Do you have defense at the top of your list? You know, knowing that what you do, you can plug and go inside this system. That's a cherry on top. You know what I mean? Ace in the hole, being able to plug and go in this system, and you've been able to show it, because the most talented guy, the most athletic guy, may not be the fit. Right. We've watched that as well.
Right.
We watched that with Nico. We watched that with Joe Milton. It's been the same exact thing with those guys. So, and then you bring a guy not as athletic, but just able to do just enough and keep you honest, and Joey Aguilar, and look at the season he has. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure,
it's more so, I think, what you hitting on, Will, the pieces around them that can make it, and not depending on a guy to elevate everybody, you know what I mean, at one position. more so if you hit and strike gold like a Dalton Connect or like a Chaz Lanier, that right there, because of the system fit, elevates everybody else around you as well by them just being who they are.
For sure.
It wasn't nothing special that Rick had to draw up for these guys. These guys fit into a core that was already built, you know what I mean, with leadership and seniority. Right there with Zakai and Meshack and all those guys. You just had to plug in and then let the players figure it out. We'll figure it out, Coach. We got them. We'll bring them along, and then, boom, he's a star.
Slay, I want you to be honest with me, and no is an acceptable answer. Do you want to stick around for one more segment and talk some hoops?
Hell yeah, we ain't talking no hoops yet. Come on, Will.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do
I'm
it.
waiting on that anyway.
Santa's Slay. Ron Slay with us. We'll talk some Tennessee hoops, some Vanderbilt hoops with you to wrap up Hour 3 coming up next. Ramona Will wrapping up hour 3 with Rhett Bryant on deck, previewing Titans and Saints. Ron Slay with us for a couple more minutes, talking some SEC hoops. I knew the second that the Snoop Dogg started that this was a Ron Slay request, and a very good one at that.
Love this, man. Straight off the Friday After Next, man. I'm watching that tonight. Friday After Next.
Right.
Gotta watch it. Shout out to Ricky Smiley, the crackhead Santa Claus.
Well, the Friday After Next in the college basketball season, we'll see Tennessee getting ready to head to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Ron Slay. What do you need to see from Rick Barnes' team as SEC play begins as far as one area of improvement? Where's this team got to get better for you?
To me, Willie, what I just saw, them demanding more from each other. I think coming off that 10-day stretch, that was the biggest leap that I've seen from the front court in particular. And these guys, as far as guards go, being able to throw it inside and trusting those guys, if a double team comes, kick it back out, be ready to shoot. But forcefully putting the ball inside and having an inside presence, not living and dying with the jumper. It's crazy playing a team like Louisville, even with their phenomenal freshmen sitting out. You had an opportunity to take control of their game, and knowing what they lacked, you were able to, go punish them inside with the depth that they lack as far as the height, the length, the girth, and everything. Man, them guys punished them. Felix Akpala inside scoring, Jalen Carey inside, J.P. Estrella, Dwayne Brown, like those guys right there, you have to be a force. And look how much easier it is. I hope the guards watch that, how much easier it is from taking contested twos, beating people off the dribble, to getting a kick out from a post guy, shooting like you're shooting reps in practice. That was beautiful to watch. So I think Coach Barnes talked about it post-game presser, saying that, man, he told the guys, guys, get the ball inside without me having to call a play. So that right there, that effort, and you start to trust those guys. And like I said on SEC Network, it's one thing to post up and want the ball. It's another thing to post up and demand, give me this ball. And that's what we got to see. So I think that changes so much for Tennessee. But for them to take the next step, you have to look around the nation and say, how are these other teams over the hump? And it's their phenomenal freshmen that are doing it. When you look at Arkansas, the team you just mentioned, they got a play going into it. Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff Jr., man, they are a problem, especially Acuff Jr., dog. He reminds me so much of Stephon Marbury. It's crazy. Wow. So you watch him, you watch AJ DeBansa. You would see what he did, Darren Peterson when he's playing, Kingston Fleming's at Houston. And the thing that everybody has is they're surrounded by Caleb Wilson. They're surrounded by guys that are veterans. So it's not like you dropping them in and saying, man, take me on a heroic effort and drag us to the Final Four. Right. No, we just need you to be that phenomenal guy. So it's up to Nate Mint to take that next step. Just like I was on the guys demanding it, post players, y'all got to be able to do something. Gillespie, you got to be who you are. Okay, everybody's being who they are. Now it's up to you, Nate Mint, to take your game to the next level. Not 30 points a game, but consistently being a threat to go out there and get 17 or 18 a night on a high efficiency. You're doing all the intangibles. All that's cool. Passing, rebounding, not getting lost in the game. All that's cool. You got to make shots. Right. For this team to be who they're supposed to be, you got to make shots. And it's point blank, period. There's nothing else to look for. You got a deep bench. You got Abrams being him, Amari Evans coming along. You got all these pieces. You got to go be who you're supposed to be.
Totally agree. And I know for me and for probably you and many others as well, the biggest question was who plays at the 2 for this Tennessee team and who complements everything else that you have. I honestly feel better about that position, Slay, at this point than I thought I would by this point at the end of December, because Amari Abram has been pretty consistent. I think Bishop Boswell is the most improved player on this team from last season to this season. I want him to get more downhill because I think good things happen when he goes to the basket, and he's starting to kind of trust his own ability to do that as well. It's the other stuff that I thought would be further along at this point that isn't. That's kind of held this team back, right? Like the turnovers, the mental mistakes, the consistency of Nate Ament being kind of that shooter. Rick Barnes has talked about it. He's putting so much pressure on himself. You can see it with some guys when they miss a couple of shots and their shoulders just kind of drop a little bit. And their head drops a little bit. And Nate's got it in him. I was so encouraged by the way he came out against Louisville, even when he wasn't finishing at the basket. There was a mentality change for Nate Ament against Louisville, where even as he got an offensive foul, which was a crap call early in that game, he's at least forcing the issue a little bit. And I can work with that all day long over someone that looks kind of afraid to take the shot at times, Slade, because if his first 2 or 3 shots didn't go in, that was the problem for Nate Ament early.
Absolutely. And you look around the league, that's going to be the league and the consensus for everybody that's coming through. Arkansas is better when Carter Knox gets out of his way. Calipari has been talking about this in every headline that he can get in, talking about Carter Knox getting out of his way. Look at Florida. Boogie Flan, you got to get out of your way. You got to just go play. It's the same thing. Otega Oweh in Kentucky. Like, you're in your way. You got to get out of your way and go play for us to be great. So it's the same thing for Nate Ament. Yes, a lot of responsibility on you, but this is what it comes with.
Right.
Like, believe me, that coaching staff and Coach Barnes and some of the guys like Bishop Boswell, Felix Akpara, those guys have prepped him, telling him, man, this is going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't no walk in the park. Regardless with the league being down a little bit, with it being down, there's more parity in it, but there's more guys that are new, plugged into the system that's taking it a minute to get going. But when it gets going, you'll look at it and it'll be like, it's the same thing for Vanderbilt. The reason they've been able to take that step, you understand what they were bringing back, but Tyler Nickel is playing free. I'm a shooter. I'm going to shoot every single time. That threat right there is a problem, especially when you have a core in Tyler Tanner, Duke Miles being plugged in, McLaughlin, Tyler Harris. Like, the list goes on. They're really good.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah, regardless of who they're playing, they rock their schedule. Their schedule as far as top 25 guys they playing may not be the name brand guys, but the teams you putting in front of them, they beating the hell out of them the way they're supposed to be doing. So I'll take that all day long, man. This is going to be fun going into this SEC season because of the matchups that you're going to get, and the coaches know each other. It's going to be a little different than it was in this non-conference. And the non-conference was great.
And Tyler Nichols got a little bit of that Chaz Lanier quick release, just catch and shoot. I mean, 8 of 10 against Wake Forest. Unbelievable what he did the other day. Real quick, just on the way out on Vandy, what is the question you've got to see answered? Like, where will Vandy's weakness maybe come up in SEC play to you? I know we're kind of nitpicking because they've been so good, but what do you still need to learn about them?
Man, what they look like when someone challenges them inside and the game slows down. Kind of similar to what Memphis was able to do, kind of muck the game up a little bit. But with the length outside of McLaughlin, you got a couple other guys, Okiriki, you got Collins, you got guys like that you can kind of throw down low and see what they can do. But I think just like last year to me, in a sense, it won't stunt their growth too much. But the big front courts, that's where you kind of, see the over the hump. You look at the UConns, you look at the Houstons, you look at the Floridas, you look at Tennessee, you look at all of these teams that have big depth in their front court. Arizona, like these are the teams that you see like, okay, what's the difference in here? It's the bigs, and if McLaughlin gets in foul trouble, who do you bring in with experience right there to be able to carry the load? Because the way they play, if you let them play their style, you're in trouble, or you better be making shots. It's nothing else, and they do a great job of that. But
for sure,
when it's going to be some games that the shot doesn't fall. You have to go to something else. How do they counter that? You know what I mean? Do they get to the foul line more, knock down shots? It could be that. So we'll see.
Slade, Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate you always making time for us, even on Christmas Eve here on the show. Grateful to have you a part of the team. Grateful to call you a teammate and a friend, and hope it's a great holiday for you.
No doubt, man. Merry Christmas. You will leave, give Papa Bowling and Mama Bowling the love, man. Tell Peyton what up. Merry Christmas. You, Jay Hawk, and the
Merry
fam,
Christmas,
man.
Slade.
Love y'all. Hey, man, this is an opportunity too, man. If you in the city, Broadway's nice right now, man. I was down there last night. You see my eyes a little bit, man. It was a fun time down there, dude.
Sleigh
You
ride
can
on
get
Broadway?
in and out of bars. Dog, it was a great time down there. I wasn't no traffic. I loved it.
Broadway's
man. So,
not bad when it's not crowded. Like
No,
honestly,
it was
which is
wonderful.
rare. But like it's really like kind of nice.
That's like pre-COVID.
that was dope. Yeah. So y'all gonna enjoy that, man.
Love it. All right, Slay.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Good to see
All
you.
right, y'all. Bet.
All right, Ron Slay with us. Wrapped it up hour 3. Rhett Bryan in studio talking Titans and Saints next.
It is 9:03. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs Studios. Merry Christmas Eve. I'm Justin Hawkins. Last night, the Nashville Predators win again as they take down the Minnesota Wild 3-2 in overtime to get their third consecutive win and eighth win of December. Steven Stamkos had the tip in during the overtime period, securing the 2 points for the Preds. You can catch all of tomorrow's Christmas Day games on The Zone, since we are off tomorrow, of course, courtesy of Westwood One. Cowboys versus Commanders kicks it off at 12 with Westwood One coverage starting at 11. Marcus Mariota questionable to play. Backup Josh Johnson might be getting the start in their place. Then it's Lions versus Vikings. J.J. McCarthy out. Backup Max Brosmer is in. Then to close, it's Broncos versus Chiefs and the nightcap. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Damn it.
Final hour of the show and of the week. This is very well done by Justin. Kudos to you. This is a great little way to start the final 60 minutes.
You like my little transition last hour of the show?
I like it.
It's not our last Christmas, but we're having some fun.
It's not our last Christmas. I sure hope it's not.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm allowed to continue celebrating Christmas.
You serious, Clark?
Brett Bryant's here.
Have you thought about how many people have covered this song?
Yes.
Now listen.
Yes.
For all the Swifties, for all the Swifties out there, don't get offended when I say this, but this is the only acceptable version. Is this right here?
Oh yeah.
The original with Wham.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
bam,
I looked
thank you,
at,
ma'am.
Exactly. I looked at the official music video of this from 1984, whatever this was. Have you seen the view count on that?
No.
Take a look. It's been on the official video, and I think it's through like Vivo, has been on there for 16 years.
Okay.
But look at the video account, the video views.
It has got, oh my gosh. It has 1 billion views with a B.
Yes.
Wow. That's got to be up there with most viewed YouTube videos of all time.
It's in there. Yeah, it's in there.
Which I'm sure is like a Taylor Swift music video.
Oh, it's
no, apparently it's the Baby Shark Dance by Pink Fong. I don't know what that is. 16 billion views.
Yeah.
Surpassing Despacito.
Still, for one music
2020.
video of that's 40
crazy.
plus years old. And
Goodness.
Anyway, pretty wild.
I love it. Grateful to be talking about a Titans win over the weekend and a Christmas present given to these Titans fans who were in the building or not in the building on Sunday over the Kansas City Chiefs. The progression of Cam Ward, Rhett, is a big deal. And I'm curious what excites you the most about the way he is playing. 16 points higher in his quarterback rating from pre-bye week to post-bye week. What stands out to you the most about Cam's progression right now?
Well, let's do a couple of layers of getting to the answer, because the first thing is the emphasis on importance of reestablishing the run game for the Titans has been a major part of this. And because when you think about how effective it's been in neutralizing some stud pass rushers that are trying to come kill Cam Ward in the pocket, it has really helped a lot. And a lot of that goes to all of those offensive linemen, the receivers and tight ends that are blockers, and certainly the two running backs, all of the running backs, because all of them have had carries. But Tony Pollard obviously has led that way. But you think about that, 484 yards rushing as a team in the last 3 games combined. And that has helped get them into third and manageable, long, sustainable drives that have ended in scores, time of possessions there. So that's part of it. Cam just continuing to pour everything he has into being the absolute best quarterback he can be, not just personally, but for this team, for this franchise, for these fans, all of those things. And the work is starting to pay off. The other part of it is all these rookies have played a ton of football. Yeah. They're not rookies anymore. They're really not. They haven't been for a minute. And so just seeing him, how comfortable he is operating not only in the pocket, but just operating the offense. I mean, that throw he threw across his body to Chim. Now, let's say this. Tony Pollard comes just a half a tick too late. He does pick up the blitz against Drew Tranquill. If he doesn't pick that up, that may be a much different play. So he does a nice job of his awareness there, but it slips off of that, and here comes Drew Tranquill anyway. But that Cam, and that was the thing I think that was attractive about him as a draft prospect going, almost a year ago. And this whole thing is he never gets too high, he never gets too low. He just seems to be right even, like you'd like. He doesn't ever get too anxious, and he's learning to throw the ball away when the journey is over. He's learning to pull the ball down and run to get the yardage needed. Like all of those things. And to hear Mike McCoy talk about it, like on Monday Night Titans with Taylor Zarzour on Monday, he goes over a couple of 3 plays just from Sunday where nobody had to tell him that. He was already being proactive and reactive and just operating the offense when things are evolving and changing. And look, I think the other part goes to the credit of all these ridiculously tough top 10 to top 5 defenses they've seen all year long. Because that's helped mold him into, okay, this is – now, I think some of the challenge in 2026 is those defenses make adjustments. Does he make the counter adjustment?
For sure.
So that's something he'll work on. I have no doubt he'll take care of business. But I think it's a culmination of a lot of those things. And this coaching staff just, with some play calling. I mean, look, Mike McCoy and all that staff deserves a lot of credit for being a stabilizing force in this stuff. It's only recently that there have been more tangible evidence and proof of concept, as we say, that what we've been practicing and what we've been preaching is starting to come to fruition. I mean, you won 2 out of the last 3. Look at the points spike that has been. I mean, look at that game Sunday, Will. I was just amazed to look at the team stats, not the individual.
Agreed.
52% on third down, 38 and change in minutes and time of possession. The Titans offense ran 70 plays to their 42. And I know that Patrick Mahomes wasn't in there. I know that Gardner Minshew got knocked out early. So the Titans had a piecemeal secondary back there. Like, everybody's got some stuff missing in this. But you can't take away that they did that against a top 10 to top 5 defense.
And Chris Jones, who is a game wrecker in his own right as well.
Right.
100%.
So it's just seeing all those things starting to click, and then the complementary football that they're beginning to play. Because, God, special teams, what a 180 that's been year over year.
Right.
John Bones Fossil, like,
for sure.
There's not enough praise for him and Renee Stewart with what they've done with that unit.
That side of the ball and the defense, too, kept the Titans' offense in it.
Correct.
When they did start slowly. And that's the thing I think we've been missing. And I know Coach Mack has talked about it with us a ton on Titans Radio. This offense is going to be challenged to play with a separated score. And the ability of a defense to tee off, get in those wide splits. They don't have to respect the run game as much because you're in obvious passing situations.
Yep.
It's hard for any offense at any level of football to be predictable and good. But for this offensive line that is learning how to play together and a quarterback that needs the whole playbook at his disposal to have success right now with where he is in his development, keeping it close and having the ability and making a defense respect the run game is just critical right now. And that, I think, is what kind of gets lost in it. And to your point, you're 100% right. The special teams of the defense, while the offense had 3 trips on the plus side of the 50 where they didn't score to start this game.
Yep.
The defense complimented them, and then later in the game, as the Chiefs move the ball a little bit better, the offense picks things up. Now they separate the score. Now the defense can tee off, and you kind of get the script flipped a little bit.
Yes, and that's what's so great to see is just see all these 3 phases help each other in the times when it was most needed. I just, I think about this offense starting to get into the third and manageable, because that's where it starts. If you can get in 3rd and 4 or less, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, you got a chance. And then the other part, Cam, what he had 2.42 seconds quickest time.
That's correct.
To throw, quickest release
against the second highest blitz percentage he's seen all season.
I mean, again, it's so many things. It's not just Cam Ward. It's not just the offense. It's not just the defense. It's so many things like that. It sounds old and worn out, but like running the ball, it takes all 11. It does.
It really does.
It takes a village to make all this stuff work, and it's just finally starting to work in to the favor. And the other part, I don't know we're going to talk about the New Orleans Saints. I just got through doing a Saints podcast with a couple of guys. It was great conversation for about the last half hour.
Nice.
Think about this. It hadn't been that many weeks ago. Back in October, this is a battle for the number 1 overall pick. No, it's not. Not anymore.
One of the hottest teams in football coming to town.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
And Kellen Moore and that West Coast modified RPO offense, they got a quarterback that can deal it. 308 yards last week. And then, Chris Olave's catching everything. And if he's not, Juwan Johnson is. And the biggest thing is they don't have a ton of run game right now because of injury.
Sure.
But they've got a legitimate defense that Cam Ward and the guys are going to be challenged with again.
100%.
But this is going to be a very fun game on Sunday with two teams that are not vying for top picks. They're wanting to get a win in the left column.
One other thing about the past 3 games before we get to our break and talk about the Saints, and talking about this run game and Tony Pollard, Ramon brought up a good point on Monday that he may be playing himself into a role on this team in 2026. And I think when you look at what this organization wants to be in terms of spending their money wisely, they've got a lot of money to spend in cap space in 2026. To me, there is, regardless of what Tony Pollard's future looks like as a Tennessee Titan, there is a need for a running back, I think, again, for the 2026 Tennessee Titans. And in today's day and age, you want Khalil Mullings to continue to progress and take a step forward. You need 3 backs at all times. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Titans go out and use a day 2 or 3 draft pick, I would guess day 3 draft pick again, to try to find another runner that can complement 2 other players. I'm starting to be won over that Tony Pollard can still be one of them. That is not an overly inflated contract. I'm not sure you would bring back Tony Pollard in 2026 to be the guy, even as much as he has been this year. But, Rhett, a running back room by committee that includes Tony Pollard, who has been a consummate professional, who has gotten better as the season has worn on, who is a leader in that locker room, and who gives a crap. And I'm not making a comment on anybody else. I'm just saying Tony Pollard is the exact kind of veteran I think that this organization values
and needs.
And I think you could do a lot worse than continuing to rely on him, maybe not as much of a workhorse in the future as the tread kind of piles up on his tires.
Sure.
But I still think there's a role for Tony Pollard to play in the 2026 Tennessee Titans.
To your point, I don't know that Tony Pollard's game has ever been that he is the lead horse that gets 30, 35 carries a game. His game's different and built. Like, if you use him correctly, not necessarily just worried about a pitch count, but if you use him correctly, he can be very effective as he has shown in his time here. I wouldn't disagree. And, the reports are that the Titans will have $100 million under the cap. Of course, we don't know how much the cap's going to go up. It could be more than that because It's gone up $50 million in the last 2 years.
Right.
So, but I think that could certainly be a thing because, he's still under contract for 2026. And to your point, that's a number that they could absorb because they do have some things. I'm going to tell you something else that's going to be a topic in 2026.
Yeah.
He's on the backside of a deal. Jeffrey Simmons has earned himself more money.
Big time.
Jeffrey Simmons, and I don't think they're afraid to give it to him.
No.
And that's not giving it to him. He's earned it.
Front load it and pay that against the cap now also while you have so much cap space.
Contract quarterback.
100%.
That's because Jeffrey Simmons is the foundation of this football team. He is the backbone, the foundation. He is the glue that holds all this together. When you got other teams, that's the first thing that the Saints guys ask me about is like, God, you've got this guy named, I was like, well, God, you've got this guy named Cam Jordan, who is the same kind of guy on 100%. And off the field, 100%. A walking gold jacket. But Jeffrey Simmons deserves a payday. And I've never been one to say I'm going to go spend people's money, but it's the truth.
I totally agree.
With what he does on and off the field, he is Titans. He is Tennessee Titans. When people think of Tennessee Titans, they think of him. And with what he's done and with the recommitment to his body and his craft and his efforts in the community, go for it.
100%. Totally agree. Coming up, we'll preview Titans and Saints, our last hour of the show and last day of the week to do exactly that. A defense with a young and very talented secondary, a quarterback that is playing better, and a legit number one wide receiver. We'll preview Titans and Saints with Rhett Bryan in studio when we come back. Christmas Eve continues on Ramon and Will. Rhett Bryant in studio. Ramon with the day off. Myself, Will Bowling, and Justin Hawkins. A classic right here.
It's my favorite version of Little Drummer Boy. It's from the late 70s. It was a Bing Crosby Christmas special, if I'm not mistaken. Nice. And David Bowie comes in a sketch where he's like a new neighbor, and they know of each other's musical talents, and they just start singing this. I don't know. I think it's just because it's so different, and you have, a guy that is Ziggy Stardust and a guy who is classic crooner.
Yeah.
With a compilation here together, a little collab. And this isn't that many years before Bing passed away, and of course now both of them are gone. But my favorite one, I don't know what it is. I think it's just because it's different.
I like it.
It's really cool.
The way he's dressed in this special is kind of like Mr. Rogers.
Okay.
You talking about David Bowie?
Bing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Classic.
Hello, neighbor.
Button down and the sweater, button down sweater. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. Christmas cardigan, one might say.
Yes, a Christmas cardigan.
Well, the New Orleans Saints will be coming to the Titans neighborhood this upcoming weekend. And Rhett, they bring a young and talented secondary to face off with Cam Ward. I'm looking forward to seeing this matchup. We talked about Quincy Riley, the rookie out of Louisville in the NFL draft process, as someone who was kind of coached and raised up in the quarterback position the same way as now former Titan Jarvis Brownlee Jr., and a guy that is sticky in coverage, a guy that is going to bring a certain kind of mentality. You have Kool-Aid McKinstry on the other side. Jonas Sanker is coming off a really good performance against the Jets. Had a pick.
Yeah.
And Justin Reed, who Mike Borgonzi would have a lot of familiarity with in his time as a Kansas City Chief.
And then local prospect and former Vol, Alante Taylor.
Coffee County.
Doing a very nice job for the Saints. Yeah. They got some dudes. They got guys at all three levels.
They do.
Chase Young, people have forgotten Chase Young resides in the Big Easy, and he have 7 quarterback sacks?
7 sacks.
34 pressures. A lot of those are quick pressures under 2.5 seconds. The thing that is impressive to me about this Saints defense is that they have their own Jeffrey Simmons. It's Cameron Jordan. Year 16, 130 quarterback sacks.
Crazy.
A future Hall of Famer, had 2 on Sunday of the 8 they created against that Jets offense. And an outstanding person off the field. He is their Jeffrey Simmons, basically.
100%.
But he's 36 years old. Think about that. He's in year 16. And then their leading tackler with 131 tackles, I think, Demario Davis. Of course, that's Mickey Ryan's guy from Arkansas State. But Demario will be 37 here in about 2.5 weeks. And these two guys are playing at such a high level. Now, clearly, they're one of those how to be a pros. They take care of their bodies. They take care of, but just to perform at such a high level, because Cam Jordan's got 8.5 quarterback sacks in year 16. That's that Calais Campbell, like all these guys that are these wily vets that are just ridiculously good at what they do. They present problems, no doubt.
That's a really hard position to play so late in your career, where if you lose any sort of your explosiveness or strength or power, you're done. Right.
Forget it.
And a lot of crafty veterans. 6th-year edge Carl Granderson, another name to watch in that defense, a UDFA from Wyoming. 5 sacks, had a defensive touchdown earlier this year. Looking at their secondary, Rhett, and the way their pass defense is played, it feels like they are a product, one of those kind of teams that early in the season, they weren't giving up a ton of passing yards because teams had the lead against them late. And so you look at where they were in terms of total defense, they're 5th in passing defense and yardage allowed, 13th in yards per attempt. Lately, though, that has not been the case. They have had leads and teams have been chasing games, and they still can't throw on them. They have allowed less than 200 passing yards in 6 straight games, the New Orleans Saints. At Carolina.
No wonder they've won 3 in a row.
Right. At Carolina, home to Atlanta, at Miami, at Tampa, where they held Baker Mayfield to 122 passing yards.
Wow.
And at home against Carolina, and then the Jets game they won over the weekend. No team has thrown for more than 267 passing yards against the New Orleans Saints this year. That was the LA Rams in a 34-10 win.
Here's the other part of it, too. Them bringing Brandon Staley in as the DC, okay, he wasn't a great head coach, but he's really good at what he does as a coordinator.
Guy can coach a defense.
That guy, I mean, he runs that 3-4, and they clearly are doing the right things. Because we don't see the Saints very often. They're out of conference. And I'm sitting there looking through the game book from Sunday. I'm like, they had 8 quarterback sacks and forced fumble recovery, pick. I'm like, good Lord. I mean, I knew they had some decent stuff, but golly.
Right.
Thinking about Cam Ward, too, in another stiff defense he will face, I got to looking at his numbers, and this is wild. And I'm bird tracking a little bit here, but indulge me. So do you think about, I think about the evolution of the quarterback and what a quarterback league it is now and a passing league, but the run game and defense still wins you championships kind of thing. So the year that Steve McNair is the co-MVP with Peyton Manning, 3,215 yards passing. Cam Ward's 349 yards away from that with 2 games to go. Think about that for a second. Now, that tells you the evolution of the game,
100%.
But it is also a franchise mark from a top quarterback to a top quarterback pick in franchise history. That I'm just looking at a measuring stick
for sure.
And 349 in the last 2 games is very attainable with the way that Cam Ward has been playing as of late.
Agreed.
I mean, he's at 28.66 past Marcus Mariota for the most passing yards for a rookie quarterback in franchise history. But that's just wild to think about, that he's knocking on the door of that. And the reason I was to say all of that, you know me, I don't live in the prediction business, but I don't think that it's too far down the road that Cam Ward becomes the first 4,000-yard passer in Titans history. Obviously, the guy that wore number 1 so well in the 80s and early 90s, Warren Moon, owns a lot of those distinctions as an Oiler. I think Cam Ward's going to be your first 4,000-yard passer.
I think so too. I mean, I kind of chuckled in a good way yesterday as Cam spoke to the media and was asked about his amount of passing attempts and how much he's had to kind of lead the way at times in games. And he was like, well, I mean, I know who I am. I want to lead the league in passing attempts. Yes, you do, Cam.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. And obviously, we are making light of Cam's confidence as a positive. I'd rather say, as Ramon says, woe than sick 'em.
That's right.
A lot of the time, but he's wired a little bit differently. And I think you are starting to see the fruits of some of that labor. I think you are starting to see the effects of some of the scramble drill reps that he talked about yesterday. Said, we work on scramble drill stuff and off script stuff. And when I go this way, I want you to come this way against certain coverages all the time. And I think it was Justin Graver, Titans Film Room on Twitter, who put a side-by-side video yesterday of Cam Ward's 30-yard throw to Chimere Dike and his throw drifting left against Florida last year in the swamp, where he found a receiver in the back of the end zone. It's uncanny how similar those two plays are. And when we had Emory Hunt of CBS on the show yesterday, that was the comment he made. You're starting to see Miami Cam Ward for the Tennessee Titans. And you're starting to see, in system, in rhythm, the process of what a play is supposed to be is looking better. You're also starting to see him kind of cook, for lack of a better term, off script.
A little acquiescing of the offense.
In the NFL, the same way he did against college defensive players.
I'll say this about Cam, too. I've seen all these guys coming in and out of that locker room the whole time. I don't ever remember a guy hating to lose as much as this dude, and it's competitive. Like, there's been a bunch that's come through there, but man, he wears it on his sleeve, and it is evident. And I also think that is one of the reasons why, and during Cam's presser yesterday, Jeffrey Simmons playfully coming up going, hey, I got a question. Can I get another touchdown? I believe that friendship and teammate partnership is growing exponentially week to week because I believe they're the same person. They're just in bigger, different bodies and different sides of the ball. Their desire to win, their desire to lead, their desire to do everything excellently and do it right the first time. I think that's why they click and they connect the way that they do.
Totally.
Much was made in training camp about them chirping at each other and all these things. But I guarantee you Big Jeff respects him because of the way he's built. He tries to talk the talk, but walk it. And I think that's who Jeff Simmons is as a football player himself. And I think that's an interesting dynamic to start to see those things kind of fuse together.
Sure.
In leadership and I don't know. It's just an interesting dynamic to me.
I agree. Looking at the offense that New Orleans will bring to town and the way the Saints have started to play better on offense, this has still not been a great body of work over the whole season, but Tyler Shuck, Rhett, is playing really well. 580 yards for him in the last 2 games, wins over the Jets and Panthers.
Yep.
A Panthers team that just picked up a big win themselves with a quarterback that's playing better as well, and Bryce Young. Over Tampa Bay. 3 of his 5 picks this year have come on the road. He's lost at Miami, Atlanta, and the Rams away from home, but has wins to his name now against the Jets, twice against the Panthers, and the Bucks. 32 of 49, 308, touchdown, and a time to throw of 2.54 seconds against the New York Jets. Rhett, we both love what Coach Matt calls the alphabet numbers. He, on quick passes, completed 19 of 23 attempts under 2.5 seconds for 195 and a score against the Jets. That is an uncommon level of success for a rookie quarterback in quick game stuff, in understanding the processing it takes to be an NFL quarterback.
So he's a smart guy to begin with.
100%.
And he's one of those guys that, was very much older for he's 26 years old. And it's well documented. 3 straight years he had season-ending injuries. He had a broken leg, and then 2 broken collarbones. And so, then he moves on to Louisville. When he's healthy and upright, like, there's no question, like, seeing him interact and seeing him operate at the Senior Bowl, like, he's a smart cat. He gets it. And credit to Kellen Moore for, like, hand-picking. That was his hand pick.
Right.
At quarterback. He's like, this guy can operate this offense. Now it's showing. And look, Juwan Johnson, the tight end, makes that work, and certainly Chris Olave. I mean, you're talking about 92 catch. The guy's having a career year after having a year in 2024 marred by injuries. What is he, like 80 yards away from his season career high for yardage, receiving yardage?
I think like 75 yards away.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right on it.
So he's somebody that, the Titans have got to account for in this. And I think it's so interesting how they're able to do this, knowing that the run game in its truest sense of form by the positions who do that, they've had to go unconventional in this because Alvin Kamara's missed the last 4 games with knee and ankle injuries. Devin Neal, one of their top draft picks from Kansas, the running back, hamstring, he's been on IR. And so if you look at their last 3 wins, like one game it's Taysom Hill, one game it's Tyler Shuck. Now it's 30, 40 yards. It's nothing. But they've had to compromise. They've had to adapt in this thing to make stuff work in this. Taysom Hill is the one that is just, you have to know where number 7 is because he does everything.
He's going to drive the bus in to Nissan Stadium.
He does. He's going to set up the locker room. Like he does it all. Like when you think of, everybody talks about a Swiss Army knife. The dude is that.
Yeah.
He caught a direct snap as an up back and on a fake punt on special teams.
He's a football player.
Have you seen those numbers and the names associated with him, with his career?
Right.
Like he's an old school football player. He's the 4th player in history and the first in the modern senior Super Bowl era to have over 1,000 yards receiving, rushing, and passing. And I'm talking about with names that most people your age have never heard. George Taliaferro, Charlie Trippy, guys that ended their careers in the mid-50s.
Right.
And for him to do all of these things, like he could line up at quarterback, he could be a fullback, he could be a running back, he could be a receiver. He does so number 7, you got to watch him on special teams. You got to watch for him in the offense. You just never know where the guy's going to pop up. And he's had a long career. Was this year 9 for him, I think, in New Orleans?
Yeah.
So he's the other one that is kind of the X factor in this.
100%. Certainly someone to watch. Audric Estime expected to be the other running back, former Notre Dame back, who had 310 yards, 4 touchdowns a season ago. And because they lost Kendre Miller for the season in October as well. So they are down to literally running back 4. I think that's one thing, too, Rhett, just to kind of wrap up on the Titans that has maybe flown under the radar a little bit. Since T'Vondre Sweat has come back and he has played next to Jeffrey Simmons, the Titans' run defense has gone from one that gave up 100-plus yards in 8 of their first 9 games this season to only allowing 2 teams to rush for over 100 yards in the last 6. And that really is by nature in the Seattle game of them just popping a couple of huge runs.
Right.
A couple of big ones that inflated that total. And then you played a guy named Christian McCaffrey in his building, and there's no shame in giving up 100 to him.
That's just what it is.
51 allowed to Kansas City, who obviously couldn't do much of anything on offense.
T. Sweat, and all you got to do is you watch the game or look at the film. That big dude is way back in there creating problems.
He's playing really well.
And just see him in the pursuit that it's scary how quick the guy is for as big as he is.
Right.
But yeah, and obviously, when you're working with Jeff Simmons, that kind of helps some things because he's taking on doubles and triples. But T. Sweat's carving out a path of his own, and being responsible and being at the right place, right time. No, he's really popped on the film in the last, since he's been back. To your point,
for sure. Great to have you on the show today. Great to have you on the show every week. A pleasure to work with you and have you on, Rhett. Merry Christmas. Thank you for helping us get through one of these solo shows on Christmas Eve. Hope it's a great holiday and looking forward to another home game and the final home game of the year on Sunday.
Yes, indeed. I am very thankful for you and Justin Hawkins and for Biggie, even those Biggie's taking a day off with the family. That's much deserved and earned. I'm very thankful for all the Zone listeners, Titans Radio listeners, everybody, and all of our crew. Very thankful. I hope all of you guys have a great Christmas, and we will reconvene on Sunday with Titans and Saints, and let's see if we can stack a home win.
We love it.
Hadn't done that. Hadn't had back-to-back wins in over 3 years.
Right.
About time to knock that off the list, too.
Absolutely is.
Merry Christmas, Rhett.
Merry Christmas, Justin.
Thank you, Rhett. All right. Final thoughts. Final segment of the show and of the week is next. Wrapping up the show this morning on Ramon and Will. And don't worry, I'm not going to talk over this drop. Merry Christmas to you and yours and to your families during this holiday season, whether you are home or away streaming us this morning. Hope it is a lovely, cozy, and festive evening with family and friends and a great day tomorrow. And I hope you get to listen to this song more today. I feel very festive today.
This is one of my favorites.
It's a very good one. Yeah, turn that up. Yeah, let's hear it. Hey, ho, ho. Here we go. Ready? And Yep. If that doesn't bring a smile to your face this morning, you need smile lessons.
I'll let you do the singing, though.
I have important news to share with you this morning, Justin. Ooh. As of 5 a.m. this morning.
Breaking news sounder?
Let's save it. It's okay. But as of 5 a.m. this morning, the Santa tracker is live. Of the official NORAD tracks Santa. Do you have any guess on where Santa Claus is right now?
10 a.m. at Gimbel's.
No. There are other time zones that he's got to work.
I know, but I watched Elf last night.
What year is it?
I watched Elf last night.
Please, sir, I want to go to Gimbel's. No, what are we?
Santa, 10 a.m.
When's the last time you went to Gimbel's?
Never.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's in the movie.
Fair enough. Great movie, by the way. Santa is in Malaysia. That was the answer I was looking for.
Yeah, no.
He'll be in Hat Yai, Thailand in 35 seconds. So
do they do hot
if we
yoga
have any
there?
Thai listeners this morning,
that's where
kids
they do
get
hot.
in bed. He was last in Terengganu, Malaysia. I've 100% butchered that city name, and that's okay. That's quite all right. NORAD Santa Tracker has that Santa has already delivered 1.7 billion gifts and counting.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the real MVP.
Absolutely is.
Every year.
Absolutely
What
is.
time do you think that Santa drops off presents?
Oh, that's a great question.
Is it like 12 a.m.? Like as soon as it goes into Christmas time?
That's a good question. I thought there was honestly a dad joke punchline coming from you there.
You serious, Clark?
There you go. There's your final hour Christmas vacation.
I do have a question for you.
All right, hit me.
To end the show, would you rather end with Tennessee Christmas or We Wish You a Merry Christmas?
The Tennessee Christmas.
All right.
I'm going to be selfish. It's the song I grew up listening to as I came down the stairs to open presents. So we'll do that in just a moment. Titans and Saints Sunday. I think a big opportunity. I think a big challenge. I would not be shocked if the offense doesn't quite click the way it did against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's a credit to New Orleans and what the secondary is. How does Cam Ward build on the Chiefs game and build on what has been a really solid last couple of months? Can you do it again against one of the better defenses against the pass in the NFL that's healthy? You're hard-pressed to find a healthier secondary at this point than Kansas City. It's kind of got everybody available with Kool-Aid McKinstry, with Quincy Riley, Alante Taylor, Jonas Sanker, and Justin Reed. If you can stack another day this weekend, like Cam has over the last few weeks, now we're really talking about something really good that's happening at the end of this rookie season. And we mentioned it yesterday, and I'll say it again on the way out. Cam Ward in real time is changing the narrative on his rookie season. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's been a great year for the team, great year for him. There's been a lot of throws and moments he'd want back. But the arrow pointing up at the end of the year is a big deal. And he's doing exactly that. A good game against a really good pass defense this weekend would fill our hearts with plenty of Christmas cheer.
It's a beaut. It's a beaut, Clark.
It is a beaut, Clark.
Stacking wins. When did Rhett say the last time?
Since 2022.
Yeah.
Since the Thursday night win in Green Bay in the snow.
Yeah. I said it earlier. The way that you leave the season is memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Losing or winning is memorable.
Yep.
The way that you lose or the way that you win is memorable. Yep. How can the Titans stack, and how can Cam Ward stack these positive games?
Love it. All right, that is our week, and that is our show. Merry Christmas. Thank you all for making us a part of your Christmas Eve, making us a part of any of your days, whether you are a Titans fan, Vols fan, Vandy fan, you're a transplant that has come into Nashville, don't have allegiance to any of those teams. We love you for being a part of our community here on The Zone, being a part of our show here in mornings. As Brent Doherty says, it is a privilege and an honor to spend time with you on this station. We don't take that lightly, and we appreciate you making us a part of your Christmas Eve morning. We're live the rest of the day. Monday morning, we'll be back at it again. Titans and Saints on Sunday. Merry Christmas, and talk to you next week.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. But hey, there's no Ramon. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Stay safe. Watch your favorite Christmas movies. Eat some good food. Watch some good football, maybe tomorrow. Enjoy some good time with your family. Make sure you're safe on your travels. Make it back to us on Monday. ELE, everybody love everybody. And always remember, your Santa fingers and your cookies are always hot.